Welcome to Plat Chat Overwatch 206. It's me, Reinforce, and to the right is not Custa. I think that's Jaws, and then there's Avast, and on the far left, the guy in front of the Christmas tree, that's AVRL. So we got the regular crew together today. No one's missing. Everyone's here. Everyone said they were going to be here, and we definitely didn't have to get other people on the show. But you know what? I'm glad because it's Flash Shop season. We actually just finished up. So we got a winner from each team, each of the winning regions, NA and EU on. Talk some smack, talk about how the game is, talk about how the tournament went. And, you know, Custa is here because...
I'm actually here.
You're just here, and Jaws is not here, Avast is not here, Reinforce could make it. It's like, for the past 2 weeks, everyone is just gone. Everyone's just gone. But we here. We out here.
The entire 2 weeks has just been Averill be like, please, just let me run the show. And everyone be like, I don't know. Everyone's away on holidays. Maybe we take some time off. And Averill's like, no, I'm putting it together.
It's more like, is there going to be a show? It's more like, are we doing a show?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a show? Okay, I guess not. We're just going to miss a week. That's fine.
Right.
We'll just, we'll come back.
It's been good. We've been able to get some insightful guests, unlike, you know, the other guys that we usually have here. So, you know, it's going to be good to have Hawk and FunnyAstro, you know, recent winners of the recent Flash Up. So we'll be digging deep into that today.
Congrats, guys.
Easy wins.
Look at how winning you guys are. You guys are such good winners. Big W's.
Just wait until we pit them against each other of NA versus EU. You know, it's coming.
I wish.
Actually, I forgot these two used to be teammates on Atlanta Academy.
Yeah, back
and then FunnyAstro brought out the Atlanta Academy jersey. I'm like, holy crap, that's right.
Back in the good days.
What is that, like 4 or 5 years ago now?
Like 29th. Yeah, almost
5 years ago.
Almost 5 years. Yeah, almost 5 years ago. Holy shit, that's insane.
I remember because you guys were the like contenders team that our teams would scrim, and then realized that the our teams we were like, oh shit, we suck, we're losing to you, because you guys were like really good during that time. Like you guys probably would have been middle of the pack of out at least during that time.
I think we would have been. Oh my god.
Deuces, fellas, deuces.
Yeah, I think we would have been like top 3 Al.
Really?
Yeah.
That high?
I think in the playoff, maybe not goats. I don't think like we were at goats.
I think we would have been like
after
top 10
after Rollock.
goats.
After Rollock, like the Doom meta at the end. Actually, Mystic also would have been top 3, but that meta. But
so wait, out of the top 3, 2 of them are contenders teams.
Yeah. Well, the Al team sucks at that meta,
team?
no?
No, the Bastion.
Well, who's
Reaper...
number 1 then? Who's the?
Oh,
who's
Shock.
The other, who's
Wasn't
the
it
Al
Shock?
team?
Yeah, Shock.
Then Vancouver.
So
and then I don't know the rest.
Yeah, Shock and Vancouver were the only 2 like top
meta.
teams back then.
I can't even remember who was good outside of those 2 teams at the end of 2019.
I don't think there was anyone else. I think it was just those 2.
So you're telling me the ranking for 2019, if we go back in history and we allow contenders teams to play in the Overwatch League, the final season ranking is maybe Shock win the season, and then it's you guys and only Mystic somewhere 2nd or 3rd.
Mystic's above us.
Probably
yeah, Mystic.
Dumo TP in that meta. But yeah.
I think Vancouver was somewhere
maybe 4th.
Somewhere in between, yeah. It would have been a dogfight for 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, Vancouver was also good at that meta. Even though they got 4, they're still very good at that meta.
Yeah.
Damn, we're coming in with the heat, nice and ready. We're in the off season. Overwatch League is finished.
4-year-old heat.
We would have been 2nd place.
I'm probably forgetting like some other good teams as well. Like,
All I remember scrimming is just like Shock and Vancouver.
Because everyone was already out at that point.
And then Shock messaging us after and being like, "Oh, you guys would have been better than Vancouver in the finals or something."
Well, they subbed out Bumper in like the last week or some shit, and they played Tizzy, or was it Tizzy that I was thinking of? In the grand finals. Yeah, so that team was like pretty boom towards the end, because that was like a Giga 4-0 finals, right? Like that shit was not close.
That was a match. That was a match meta. Like you had to show up a match. Like you could play well in scrims, but it took a lot of discipline back then to like not run it down when you had a Bastion on your team. Like I remember like there was like maps where both Sigmas would not shoot their gun for like 3 minutes straight because they just had to be next to their Bastion, and whenever Sigma got bored and ran forward and tried like farm charge, would just lose. It was actually that was a disaster, but it was pretty fun.
I just realized from looking at the photo of you guys as well from back then, you are also now reunited with Lenny on your Flash Ops team. So there's a little bit of a throwback, because I was like, that's right, Sugar Free was on that Atlanta Academy team. And you guys just won Flash Ops together, so that's pretty tight.
Lenny hasn't changed a day. Can we pull that picture up again? I feel like because isn't he like 14 in this picture or something like that?
Yeah, he's like 15 or something.
He looks pretty old for that picture.
He can grow a beard now, no?
Yeah, he's got a beard. It's just the beard. But other than that, like, honestly, he looks pretty similar.
No, he definitely looks older.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, he looks a lot older than that. He
Maybe
looks like an actual child in this picture.
How old are you guys in this picture?
I just turned 18.
Yeah, I think I was 18, 19.
I remember meeting Lenny's parents. His parents had to come because he was too young.
Yeah, I think we had a few
So-
parents from our team come because our
I might have
roster
been
was just
17
too young.
years still. No, I think I was 18. I think I just turned 18.
So, on towards a little bit of what's just happened now. Before we get into any discussion about how the matches went, I kind of just wanted to get a feel for the actual event itself. I mean, this is the first post Overwatch League event, basically for everyone, unless you played in Saudi E-League. And actually, that'd be fun to maybe do a little bit of comparison. You played in both, right, FunnyAstro? Did you play in both?
No, I didn't play in the Saudi League.
For some reason, I thought you were in E-League. I just assumed like all these EU players just automatically in E-League. So you missed out on E-League. Did you choose not to play, or what was the deal with that?
I didn't really show a lot of interest. Like, I didn't post LFT for it. I didn't really get asked, and I wasn't super interested. I probably would have played if I got paid a lot of money to go and play, but other than that, I wasn't too invested in it.
I'd ask how hard he thought about it, but he didn't play either. He chilled out. He won with Twisted Minds in Saudi E-League, wins again in Flash Ops. He's just won twice. Although he didn't get to play in E-League, but he did get to play this time. He's just collecting trophies back to back here. Scott, you and I were not part of Flash Ops.
No.
Jaws was.
Yep.
How do you feel about him betraying you to cast with Jake?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like watching a live breakup on broadcast. But no, yeah, because I don't know, they decided to go with Jake, with Jaws and that kind of stuff. But it was good. Honestly, that whole setup was pretty sick. I actually almost did end up casting the Flash Ops because Matt had to step away for the last 2 days. But then I think they decided like, fuck it, we'll just run with Mitch, Jack, and that. But honestly, the event was fucking banger. Like, and it was cool to have it out of a studio. And if that is a glimpse of anything of what future Overwatch like setup is going to be like, that's going to be good. Like, you know.
I think it was awesome to play in as well. Like, the whole format and just the tournament in general. It's so refreshing not playing an OWL and having all of these rules that you have to follow. And you can just do whatever the fuck you want. You can, like, you want to stream your match? Yeah, stream your match. Say what you want. No one cares. Like, it's so much more chill than Overwatch League was.
It was chill, but there was one thing that needs to be fixed. There's a 5-second delay from the broadcast to like the live broadcast to people playing matches. So there were people that were not. From what I've heard, there were people that were like not streaming their matches that like were able to like ult
tracking second monitor.
literally ult track on live.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
It's 5-second delay. It's actually insane.
There's no delay, and there's no like OWL people watching your watching what you're doing on your monitor anymore. So you can literally have the stream open. And and just use that to ult track. But I think the people
the Wild West.
the people who didn't stream
Referees, was there refs or what?
There were no refs.
No refs. But I did like that. It was like chill and like it was just cool. Like it reminded me back in the day of the contenders. But there should be a delay on the
they had to turn delay on. At some point, I asked like, why do the players have to put a 3-minute delay on if the stream doesn't have any delay? Like, why are we putting delay on our stream
like
when the main broadcast with everyone's ult charge is just opened and you can watch it? I know that I don't, or at least I hope no one on our team was doing that because I feel like we didn't need to, but I think Gumba definitely used that.
Goomba just takes it straight. You think Goomba is the kind of guy of like Wild West? Fuck it, I'll do it. Honestly, we all know Goomba well enough. He'd absolutely do that shit.
It's the same as Al, you know.
Hey,
if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
This is the guy that did the legal maneuver on Circuit Royale. I remember. The real ones remember.
That's true.
This cheating Florida Mayhem team, those cheaters. So you know nothing gets past Gumba. If there's an extra way that he can figure out a winning, I'm sure he'll take it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it looked like a good event. Yeah, for sure. The Alpha level production, got all the regular crew back. I think that we had some, the regular OWL spectators on as well. The observers were there, and really good set design for the whole Christmas theme. So it looks decent. Like, I don't know if this is just how things are going to go in the future, but for the first post-season, post-Overwatch League era event, it was a good one because we've had flash ups before, but they weren't to this degree. And I've done a couple flash ups in the past. I don't know if you guys have done flash ups in the past as well, but they were always a little bit more like definitely more on the Wild West side and not as professionally as this, at least in terms of how it looked. So this is a step up.
I will say, like, a lot of this is the credit needs to go to Esports Engine. Like, they are the squad that had this studio, all that type of stuff. So as long as Esports Engine is involved, at least in North America, that's how it's going to look. And that's how it's going to feel. So I think that in North America, we should absolutely run it that way. It would be cool to have something equivalent work for the EMEA studio so it doesn't feel like it's just like EMEA, like casters having to get up super early and people that are actually in EMEA, like cheering for EMEA and make it feel more regionalized. I think after this event, that's sort of what everyone's hoping for, that it goes to a more regionalized setup and teams can do these kind of more Swiss open bracket tournaments that they can play against. I actually had a question for you guys. Like, how does it feel to be able to like make your team like the good old fucking days where you just like message a friend, be like, hey, you want to play in this tournament, instead of having to go through fucking 50 layers of red tape and budgeting and all that kind of stuff within teams?
It's so nice. Like, you can just message people and be like, hey, you want to join the roster? And we had a crazy big roster. We had players who didn't even play. Like, we have Backbone on our roster as well, and Psycho, who played like 1 or 2 maps. And we can just message people and be like, hey, you want to be a sub for the roster? And they're like, yeah, sure. Why not? And then that's it. And you can just build people who you know are good players, aren't toxic, you know they're going to try hard. I think that was the most fun thing about it. It was just like, the roster you can build is just going to be exactly what you want.
So how did your team come together? How did you specifically get this Kev's Shockwave team going?
I think the first person I messaged was Kev. It was when we were at World Cup, I started trying to build a team. And the first person I got on board was Kev, because I think once you've got Kev on your roster, everyone else is just going to want to play with him.
It's all easy mode once you got Kev.
Yeah. It makes everything so much easier. And I asked Chris, because he was on our team as well, and he was coaching Team UK. So, I mean, while I was there, he's a great coach. Just get him on board. And then we just built everything from there. I think Shockwave was trying to make a team at the same time as me. So we just sort of merged forces and worked together. And then, yeah, that's all the people we had. That's how the roster was born.
Were you confident you would win? Like, yeah. when you had the roster, you're like, this is easy for me?
Yeah, once we had this roster, the only question mark was, will Twisted Minds try and play in this tournament? Because that's the only team that could have beat us, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then Twisted Minds were like, no, we're busy with Saudi E-Leagues. We're not going to sign up to this one. And we were like, yeah, okay, we've won.
How do you think they would have gone if you guys played them in the final? Because you 4-0'd SR Pig Check, but if you played Twisted Minds instead, how would that have gone in theory?
I think it's really hard to tell. I think it would have been dead even. We scrimmed them a bit, and they were the hardest team we scrimmed. But I think it would have been like a really close on the day who plays better kind of match.
The Season 8 patch though, because they were on the Season 7 patch with the Sigma stuff, and
yeah, I mean,
you know, we KSA
is also sick at RAM, so he would have been good for that. And then Quartz is just like, yeah, he's just Quartz. He's just gonna hit every shot.
Quartz.
Yeah. They've got Magid on their roster as well. Like, there's no real weak link to their roster, the same way there isn't with ours. So it would have.
But you look like you got all the AL players. I mean, when I look across the players, I mean, you basically got all the top EU AL players onto one team, consolidated that, and that was that.
What Kevster does.
Everybody else is kind of
to a team,
basically tier 2.
Yeah, once Kev's on the roster, everyone else is gonna follow, isn't it?
I mean, it just doesn't look like there was much other competition. You know, you're hoping for a lot out of the rest of them. You're hoping the T2 talent are going to catch up.
Yeah,
but, I mean, I felt that way about.
Yeah.
I felt that way about Twisted Minds before, though. I was like, well, this is just a bunch of tier 2 players, right? But then they caught up, you know, a bunch of really solid guys. Yeah. Hawk, how did your roster come together? Like, how did you guys build that?
Honestly, this like, I usually have way more say like building like all rosters than I did this one. I literally just joined this one because they needed somebody, and I was like the last person to join. I'm pretty sure. I said I couldn't play for a couple matches because I was moving, and they had a sub for those matches, and that was about it. Like, I kind of just took a step back in this one.
Are you going to make a team? Did you want to make a team or no?
I mean, I wanted to play Sugar Free, but I wasn't like going out my way building a roster this time because I feel like I've kind of just do that every single year for all. Like I was just kind of like chilling. Like if someone wants me to play on a good team, I'll play.
So
This time you just kind of waited for the alpha.
Yeah.
were you confident? Like, obviously, you saw the Primus Tornado, Rossi, you played with those guys. Were you guys confident on Timeless that you could take them down if you guys did meet in the finals? Or was it like one of those things of like, it's going to be a rough bout when we get there? Because like that finals, let's be honest, was like one of the sickest series we've seen in Overwatch, probably since last year's finals.
Yeah, I was probably like the most like dogfight series, but it was very sloppy. It was a very sloppy series, but yeah, I think probably both of our teams probably thought we could both win it at certain points, and it really just came down to like one or two things, just like last year's All Finals as well, dictating like the entire series. So yeah, I always thought we could win, and they probably always thought they could win too.
Yeah.
Looked like a close race all around, not just between you guys, but there was Wisp in there as well. And a bunch of series going, you know, like the last 4 series were all full map 5s or a map 7 in there. So, yeah, would you say that, Hawk, your final, or maybe your run through the entire tournament was a close shave?
Yes, it was very close throughout the entire of it, but like, I feel like a lot of NA players' best heroes are like what is being played right now. Like, all the flex EPS players in this region, besides Sugar Free, don't know how to play Tracer or Genji, so they all like play main Hanzo. Ramacha's like equalizer hero. There's so many BAP NA players. Like, I feel like it's just like a very close meta for like NA.
Right.
So, it really just came down to like leadership and ults at the end of the day. I feel like that dictated.
Well, guys, before we get any further, speaking of close shaves, we got to talk about Custa's favorite is Manscaped.
Woo!
So, guys, we're getting close to Christmas. You need a gift. I know you guys need to give some gifts away. Gentlemen, get ready to jingle and deck your balls this holiday with the help from our friends over at Manscaped. The leaders in below the waist grooming have just launched their Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, but I like to call it the small gift for your big package. Featuring Santa's #1 helper, the Lawnmower 5.0, Manscaped can guarantee you'll be stuffing more than just your stocking this season. Let your ornaments shine and enjoy 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with code PLATCHAT. Mrs. Claus will thank you. If you want to know what you're going to get in the Performance Package 5.0 as well, looking for a one-stop shop for the holiday gifting season. Included is a trimmer as precise as Santa coming down the chimney. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra brings 2 next-gen blade heads, perfect for sculpting your holiday dew, from taming the chestnuts to grooming the tree. And trust us, it's as gentle as a snowflake on your sensitive bits, thanks to its skin-safe technology. Say goodbye to those holiday party crashes. Nose and ear hairs. The Weed Whacker 2.0 air nose hair trimmer is the king of trimming those hairs, trying to sneak into your festivities uninvited. Keep the party exclusive, fellas. But the fun doesn't stop there. Anybody in the family have too much scruff? Look no further than Manscaped Bear Headjet Pro Kit with Handyman Electric Face Shaver for all his facial needs. Dan have a nasty nose hairs. Save the day with Weed Whacker 2.0 nose and ear hair trimmer. If your boxer game is weak, take care of the chestnuts with Manscaped's Boxers 2.0. Featuring their signature jewel pouch to keep you calm, cool, and collected. And have your nails seen better days as well? Because Manscaped has got you covered their Shares 3.0 nail grooming kit as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. You get a lot of goodies for this holiday season.
They can do it all.
This Performance Package 5.0 kit. So once again, 20% off and free shipping with the code PLATCHAT at manscaped.com. And give the gift to Manscaped this holiday season, fellas. There it is.
There it is.
Our season, our sponsor for Christmas. Code Plat Chat.
I love me some Manscaped. You know, honestly, prime time. Yeah, code Plat Chat. You're pretty much getting it for free at that point. So just do it.
Yeah.
And we'll send them to you, Hawk and FunnyAstro. If you have any problems and they don't show up, just message Johnny that it isn't here yet.
Ooh.
Scott making promises right here. Promises that Johnny is now going to have to keep. So, you know, it's on record. Scott just threw it out there. You know what? Hey, I ain't in charge of the show. Johnny can deal with that.
I don't run the
I'll spam Johnny about it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Hit him up.
In case winning flash ups wasn't good enough, it's just an extra gift from Plat Chat, or you get a gift from us for the Christmas season. All right, so let's talk through the actual tournament and the finals and all that kind of stuff. Very interesting that, you know, basically, as mentioned in NA, it was really tight, especially towards the end. EU pretty damn one-sided, and seemed like probably EU was cut and dry in terms of where FunnyAstro's team was going to be from the get-go. Like, you already talked a little bit about, you know, the fact that you guys, Primus Tornado, you all felt like you had a really good chance at winning. Seemed like Wisp were going to, you know, really make a good push in there as well. So, let's talk through the actual finals at that 4 and 3. So, what was the difference maker for you guys? I mean, how did you guys get through this series? Because this was like an insanely super tight series the entire way, right?
Just going through the maps.
Yeah, you can go through the maps. We can go through your general feeling of the series. How did we flow from map 1 to map 7 for you? You know, like
we kind of wanted to try, like, it was a best of 7, so we had time to like experiment in the series. I know it sounds bad since grand finals, but we just had won a map on Queen in the previous match versus Wisp, and we want to try it going to here because we felt like we were slightly worse in the mirror. We won map 1, but wasn't really a mirror. Like, both teams had like a Moro or a Kiriko at one point, so it wasn't really a mirror. And then map 2, we go in King's Row. We probably should have just played Ram there, but I think my experience playing Queen versus that comp kind of put us at a disadvantage on first fight, and we ended up not doing well in King's Row.
Had you guys scrimmed the Queen comp?
We only ever mirrored it. Like, we never played versus Ram. We kind of
You guys just decided to pull that out in the finals. No idea how to play Queen against Ram.
Yeah, we just mirrored it whenever, like, there was like a 3 or 4 day period where I remember we mirrored you guys on Queen. Or no, you weren't there, but
yeah,
I
wasn't there for that
Queen.
scrim.
And then we started playing Queen the next couple of days, and people started mirroring us, and kind of just like spread the Queen prop around the NA region. And,
we were doing our best to spread the Queen prop around EU as well. I feel like that was just, we picked the comp because it suited our team comp or our players better, because obviously we don't want Kevstra or Mei, we would just want Genji so he can carry us. And then we start playing this comp and it's working pretty well, and other teams just copy it, like without understanding the reasoning why we're picking this comp. I think everyone on our team thought the Ram comp was better, but we just started playing Queen. So I don't know why you guys started copying us on it.
Everyone else in EU forgot that they didn't have Kevster.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, we don't have Kevster. Oh, that's what was missing. Damn.
It's like 70. Like, the
bad.
Ram comp like should win like 70% of the time.
Yeah.
I feel like, but the Queen comp is like good for 30% of the time, where you can win on certain maps. Like, I think
You can make it work.
Yeah, you can make it work, but it requires more. I mean, Ram with the 100 armor like makes him like so much more. What's it called? Like, forgiving than Queen. When you have like you have a shot timing that's like slightly wrong. So yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like throughout the series, Hawk, you guys were trying to not be in the Ram mirror. Like, did you think they had the edge? Like, you guys went to Dorado. Like, obviously, you were much better on that map as well. And, like, it felt like anytime you guys weren't in the mirror, at least in the front half of the series, you guys had the edge. Is that, like, kind of like the Kevster effect of, like, let's put Sugar Free on Genji or let Sugar Free, like, cook? Or, like, Seeker on Widow?
It was more just like, I mean, we played them the day before, we got reverse swept, but, like, every single map we lost, besides the last one, was, like, one fight, like, just, like, kind of just like choking. So we thought we were slightly worse than the mirror, but we also thought we could just like see if the counter comps like are decent. If there are counter comps. So we kind of like wasted a couple maps on that. Like, Flashpoint was just like a blur, just trying to make Queen work on that map. But there's just stuff you can do in a best 7 series to try to like what's it called? Like, narrow down like what you need to play.
Do you think there was maybe a little bit of a disadvantage in terms of synergy, given the fact that these Tornado guys have just been playing together for so many years and played mostly the same core on Toronto again this year, and you guys are coming in maybe a little bit more fresh in terms of the lineup, because it's a bit of mishmash of different players from different L teams?
Maybe, but I think it's more of like a mismatch of play styles, or like how people think of the game. I think me and RuPaul have like a pretty similar way of thinking about the game, especially in like these rush comps after playing like a full Korean roster for like the entire year. But I think some of our other players think of the game a little bit differently. So we kind of like had to like even that out as the series was going on, as we were practicing. They're just a different people. Like people have very different play styles, especially NNA compared to how Korea likes to play Rush. That makes sense.
I don't think Korea's that good at Rush though. I wouldn't copy their strategy from it. Like, I think there are some coaches that are good at it. Like, obviously,
I don't mean
Rush on Dallas
coaches.
is.
I don't mean like coaches. I just mean like, what's it called? Like the damage farming play style, where every single player is just, like using cooldowns to like pump damage instead of like just like looking for your turn.
Yeah, I think it depends which Koreans you've worked with, because I've seen some that just love doing more damage, and then some that, like KDG especially, was very heavy on like stacking cooldowns at the right time and trading at the right time.
I mean, I guess I just learned personally a lot this year from I just learned a lot this year from the backline that I had.
Yeah.
And just
and those guys were sick.
Yeah, just how they think of the game. Maybe it's not like an APAC playstyle. Maybe it's just how they think of the game. It's really helped me.
I don't know.
So you guys still are going Custa?
I feel like I want to start asking the question, because like we're already like, because you guys are sort of talking about like disagreements. Like realistically, if we were in this meta right now in the Rush, who do you guys think would win between you two? Because you guys said you guys have scrimmed each other. Obviously, there's ping. Let's try and take the ping factor out of it.
And we already got.
I wasn't there for that scrim, so I haven't heard about what happened.
Yeah. So first of all, who won the scrim, and then whoever lost, you got to defend yourself and your honor. Because
I mean, he wasn't there. Like I'm not gonna shit talk him if he wasn't there, because they had a ringer. They had two different ringers throughout the scrim.
Oh, really? Okay.
And we had a coach. Do you even know about that? Our coach McGravy was also like helping out with the team that they were playing. So like I don't know if they're hiding comps or anything. So
oh no, we didn't hide comps the whole time. We were streaming.
There's like no reason
we
to.
We didn't give a fuck.
I didn't know if you did do that, so I'm not gonna like come out here and that's your defense. But
was the scrim streamed? You guys scrimmed each other. Was there a stream for that?
I don't think so.
No.
Hattie might not have been there, and I wasn't there.
Hattie was there.
You streamed your scrims, but not this one. Not the one that people would have wanted.
I would have streamed it if I was there.
God damn it, FunnyAstro.
That's my fault. I was on holiday. I was in Budapest right then. I was a busy man.
We'll finish up on the NA stuff. We'll talk a little bit about EU, and then we'll get into some cross-region stuff as well. So in the final, all good, because there's a little bit of extra stuff I'm going to sprinkle in there towards the end there as well. But on the final couple maps, you guys end up mirroring anyway, because I mean, this just seems like it's the meta. But as Scott was saying, you guys seem like you wanted to go to Dorado. You wanted to maybe take the matchup away from just a pure RAM mirror, but you still had to just win the series on that and prove that you were better in that mirror as well.
Yeah. What was map 6? 6 was Antarctic. Yeah, we really should have. We really messed up our tempo on that map. I thought we were going to win both those rounds at some point. We really messed up our ults. Especially the first round. The first round was brutal to lose, but even the second round was also very close. We knew we didn't want to go Shambali because we lost Shambali the day before, but like, Root is also a very, very, very rough map, especially capping first. Like capping first on Root could just go either way with how many stall spots there are. But yeah, I guess we did square up in the mirror because there wasn't really any option at that point. Like we already went through all the maps. We couldn't replay Dorado, and it's either Shambali or Root.
I think that's one thing that could have changed about the tournament, was the map pool wasn't great in my opinion. There was some like key maps, like there was no Lijiang or Ilios, which is usually one of them is in every tournament. There were only 2 hybrids to pick from because Blizzard World got taken out and then it wasn't replaced by anything, so there wasn't a lot of choice in terms of like which maps you could go to. And I think there just needs to be more flashpoint maps in the game, because only having 2 is not a lot of choice.
They're both the same anyway.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
like Survasser is slightly wider, so you can try and force more divey stuff on there. And New Junk City is just like always a rush map, and it always will be a rush map.
Would you guys prefer for these kind of tournaments that there is no map pool? Would you rather just have everything in there, or do you guys like the ability to have the reduced pool? Like,
there's got to be some map pool, but I think like
be,
three maps per type is usually good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just gets really tough in best of sevens when there's only 3. If there's 2 maps and then one of them gets taken, you just don't have a choice anymore. Like you just have to pick one, which screws you over.
So given that you guys have won the tournament now, I mean, I kind of want to talk a little bit about your opposition here, because I'll be nice about it because they're not here to defend themselves. But it's just like another one of those situations where, like, look, they've had a rough year. They obviously didn't make it to playoffs as far as we're talking about the Toronto core. The Team USA, okay, they got knocked out as well. And to be honest, they got really close here, and they were probably the favorites. I mean, do you think? I think most people would have said that Primus Tornado were the favorites here. And obviously, Hawk, you're saying you guys are all believing that you have a pretty equal chance to win. But I think most people from the public side would have said that Primus Tornado is like a favorite. And then given as well, they did beat you in the upper bracket final as well. I mean, God, I'd hate to use the C word, but did the Toronto core choke again? I don't want to be too mean, but
maybe, but I think we also choked a lot too. Like I said earlier, it really is just when the regions get locked and everything, the game turns very, very sloppy. Like very sloppy for both sides. I guess you could say they choked, but I would say that we choked the winners finals as well. So, I mean, you're just gonna get a different answer from them. They probably believe that they should have won, that they just choked and they played better throughout the entire thing, or that, just depends who you ask.
I also think, like, one of the reasons a lot of people were high on Primus Tornado was that pre-existing synergy, right? Like, because if you look at the players pound for pound that, like, were on the Timeless roster, like, you guys easily go toe-to-toe with, like, a lot of their best players, right? Like, so I think with the synergy and it being a rush meta, I think a lot of people had Primus Tornado, but, like, I don't know, like, especially seeing as there was, a lot of playtime throughout the tournament, like, it went back and forth both series that you guys played. So I think it was cool to be able to see that sort of back and forth. I wouldn't even say that they choked. I agree with Hawk. Like, I think they played well, and I think this series definitely wasn't perfect Overwatch by any means, but it was entertaining as fuck. And it was cool to see both teams sort of try to make slight adaptations at certain times to sort of like mix up the series. So I think it was just a good series to see. Like, do you think there's a world in which if it was like a Sigma meta that like Primus Tornado would have had the edge, or do you think this team would have been like better or worse? Like, or do you guys just think like in Timeless, you guys probably have the edge in a lot of the metas because you have a pretty diverse group of players?
I mean, yeah, if there's like some metas might be better for us or them. Like, say if there's Genji or Tracer involved, like I wouldn't say that they would be the favorites to win. But if I don't know, if it's a Winston meta or a let's call it hard like Sigma poke meta, maybe their favorite as well. But yeah, I guess even if one team is favored, like there's still gonna be massive upsets.
There's always gonna be a chance.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
To be honest, these guys, everyone always talks about their synergy, but I've never seen like a crazy level of synergy from them. They don't feel like a rush team that just 5-man does anything on the same page, especially when you watch like from their POV and you hear their comms. It doesn't seem like a team that's played together for years. They seem like they're just playing the game and just talking to each other like the same way any other team would. It's a friends team,
for sure.
It's a friends team. I don't think the synergy ever really plays into it. Like, they're just having a good time, and you can do that on any roster, but the fact that they've played together for years doesn't really contribute to like making them better at the game.
But I think it should, right?
It should.
It should, but I don't think it does for them.
The synergy here, I think to be a little bit more defined about what synergy means here is probably more along the lines of like, well, they trust each other, they know each other, they like playing with each other, which means you're not going to have problems within the team. So it's all like that. It's the good vibes, right? So you might be right on like the whole. They don't look
that
very.
Stuff's even true. Like, for these guys,
I'll take your word for it.
I don't think like sometimes there's good vibes, but I'm not convinced they're having a great time. When you hear their comms, it doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like there's trust.
Why do they keep playing together then?
Well, they're just friends, like outside of the game. Yeah. But like in game, I don't think there's trust. Yeah. I think they just have a point to prove it at this
So this
point.
is the last time they play. So what you're saying is this will be the last time we see the Tornado team together. Like they
No,
tried.
they always come back.
They'll always come back. They'll always come back.
They've tried 3 different versions and it just.
If you've lost so many,
but it was close.
They've had like a really rough year. There's not going to be any level of trust between each other at this point. You know, like.
But this was the best result of it, because I will say, like to Scott's point, this is like the least choke of the choke. Because the other ones were like, okay, those were probably more choke. Although I would say, like, dude, they weren't going to beat China. China played out of their minds in that USA match. But I mean, this they could have won. Timeless, like, seemed like maybe out of 3 teams, any of them could have won. So I think I used the word choke in more of like trying to be spicy and to sort of reference their history a little bit here, but this I think this is a pretty satisfying result.
Yeah, I don't think they choked.
They're probably disappointed. They're disappointed they didn't win, but like coming second and making the final, going to 7 maps, you also can't be too disappointed. I don't think.
I watched Hydron's stream straight after they lost, and he said he just didn't care about it. So.
Do you think that he means that, or is that cope? Like, I think everyone wants to win, right?
It's got to be cope, right? Like, there's no way.
I don't know.
If he won that last map.
He ditched a lot of scrims this stream, and they were not very happy with that. They had
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, from what I heard, they weren't happy with him for ditching scrims to stream.
It is worth noting about it as well. Like, this is just some like holiday event. It was kind of crazy that we got like the sheer amount of talent that we did like across all regions to like play in it. Like, we had like all the best Overwatch League players, and it was cool to see like that representation. It's probably us just holding on to some form of competition, but this didn't mean anything in the overarching thing. Like, hopefully we have like tournaments like this that have more like long-term benefits of like maybe there is a LAN at the end of the tunnel or something like that. But like, this was a tournament that was purely for money, purely for fun. So, you know, it's not the craziest thing, but it's also like people did want to win, right? Like, you know, it's still a little bit of money.
Well.
Yeah, that's it. Just like,
I think for all the OWL players that join in, like, the money's nice. Like, it was a pretty decent prize pool, but everyone just wants to win so they can brag that they won, you know?
Yeah.
It's more important.
Speaking of bragging about winning, would you like to now, FunnyAstro, brag about winning EU, where basically you guys went fairly uncontested? You only dropped a few maps in there, and actually the closest game was what the upper bracket quarter that you originally had versus EXO. So before you even got to them into the final, you played them the quarter, and that actually went to 5.
Yeah.
So how did that game go to 5, and then the finals was 4-0?
I mean, we came into the playoffs bracket in 8th seed because we had some complications in our Swiss stage.
Complications.
What happened there?
We may have been disqualified because Hattie overslept through a match, and JK was going to be like, JK was going to be casting our game.
He did the Fuki, did he?
So we were just like, yeah, fuck it, let's put JK in instead. But he wasn't on our roster, so we got disqualified. And and then we also like. We had the same problem as you, Hawk, where we had like people had already booked in holidays. Like, you've played the whole season of OWL, you went to World Cup after. Everyone had holidays booked in. That's why we had such a big roster. And then we had a day where it was just like we had 4 DPS players and me or something. And then it was just random who you played against. And we got against SR Peak Tech with like without our roster. So so we lost that as well. We come in 8th seed, which puts our first match against SR Peak Tech, and that was really close. I will say that we hadn't like had any deep conversations about our strats or planned anything out, and we'd streamed all of our scrims, so they knew what we were gonna do, and they knew our answers to stuff, and we didn't really play that well. So I mean, we still won, but we went to map 5.
I was gonna say, you still won. Like, what do you mean? You screamed your scrims, didn't play well, and they knew everything, and then you still 3-2'd.
Yeah, I mean,
they had every advantage. Whatever.
The day before finals was the first day we'd like sat down for an hour and planned out every comp that we were going to play on every map, and we counter-stratted them, and we were like, oh, we know what we're doing on King's Row. If they pick that, if they pick other maps, we'll be fine. We have like plan B in place, plan C in place. We had it all lined up, and I mean, it just went to plan. But we hadn't done that for our other matches as in depth as we had for those two. It's worth saying that Chris is our coach, but he was traveling to China in the middle of the playoffs bracket as well, so he was like in and out and struggling to be there for any VOD reviews or anything. So we had problems.
I was going to joke like,
we sort
It
of
sounds like Chris only showed up on the last day, but it sounds like that might be true.
yeah, it almost was. He did some coaching here or there, but I think most of our stuff was just like we sorted it out for finals, and then we obviously just did so much better in finals. Obviously there was a losers bracket, so we didn't care that much if we lost. If we lost in the winners quarterfinals, we would have just dropped in the losers bracket and then ran through there and met SR Peak Check in the finals or XX Oblivion.
This is the final you expected, right? I can't imagine you expected any other team to really make it far.
XX Oblivion, we thought might have had a chance against SR Peak Check. They'd apparently done well against them in scrims, but match day is just a different beast, and we thought they were slightly stronger on match day, I think.
Yeah. So speaking of me, again, match day being a different beast, given that you'd gone closer to SR Peak Check before, and obviously we talked about the factors of you guys not being as sorted out as going to the finals. I mean, are you surprised they didn't take any maps, or was the 4-0 just like, this is exactly how it should have been?
Yeah, I think
here for you.
they picked the weirdest maps they possibly could and picked the weirdest team comps, and they actually hard through by doing it. Like, a couple of their comps, if they had just continued to play them, would have caused us troubles, and we would have had to like go to our plan B and plan C. They stopped playing like fucking hog on mid-town defense. Like, I have no clue what Gumber is doing with that. It made no sense at all. But yeah. And
Jake was praising on the cast. He's like, "This is a real comp, fellas. Hog is not a meme pick anymore. I think this can work."
Hog is not bad. Hog is actually not bad. Like, I've played it.
There's no way you're gonna try and play Hog into Junker Queen.
Not the Queen, no. But yeah. It's like Winston.
We were a hard one trick in Queen. We played like 90% Queen, and then they roll out on Hog on defense. It didn't make sense. And they're picking Midtown, like in the quarterfinals, they picked Kings Row against us and capped with a 4-minute time bank. And then they play us again, and they don't pick Kings Row. Like, it just didn't make sense to us.
Did the Xayah make sense versus the Queen? Like, do you think the Xayah's, because they tried that as well. Like, after they moved on, they just like tried to like play a lot of Xayah. They tried to play it on Suravasa, a little bit on Midtown as well. Like, did you think it could work? Is that like a counter to the Queen in some aspects?
We hadn't even considered it, but we struggled against it in the match on Midtown. We struggled against the Zarya. We just got lucky that we can play Widow on third, and then Shockwave kills the whole lobby for 4 minutes.
That always helps.
I think they tried it at the end of Suravasa, but they didn't start it. So they started Ram, and then they panic swapped Zarya on the last point, and at that point it was just too late. Yeah. But they went 1-1 for points that they had Zarya. So they had a lot of solutions, but they just didn't trust them enough. I think like the same comp that they played on Samoa on the first round, they played the Moira Ram comp, what NA plays. A lot of, I don't know if you played it in finals. I don't think you played it as much, but that comp we struggled with, and then we go 99-99 on a Koth round, and we end up winning it because Kev sticks a Moira out of Cole, and then they just stop playing.
Actually.
And then they just stop playing that comp. I'm like, you guys were winning. You had the comp. You had the answer. That was what we were scared of, and then they stopped playing it because they lose to Kev sticking a Moira out of Cole.
Kev exploded their confidence with that.
Yeah.
Sure. You guys still ended up having to, again, just like Hawk did in his final last 2 maps, you guys eventually did have to play the Ram mirror, so you still just proved you're better on that as well. Like you won all the matchups, you didn't lose a single map, you were just better across the board on every single matchup.
I think they picked weird matchups though. Shambali was the only map we'd ever practiced Ram on, I think, and they picked Shambali, so so we played a little bit of Ram on it, and we were happy taking the mirror. We did talk about going Queen because we had only played Ram on it once. That was the extent of our practice. We'd played it against Primus Tornado one map in a scrim. I think we won that map, so we were like, we can play Ram here.
What was the other maps in the pool?
Dorado and Root.
It was
Root. We were terrified of them picking, but they didn't, which is nice of them.
So they probably should have gone Root then.
Yeah, they should have gone Root because they had a double flex roster, and Root is probably the only map out of the 3 where you can play double flex.
Can you play Sigma on any of these maps at the moment? Over Stolen?
I think Sig is just out.
Just because of how good Ram is, like, Ram just runs in him.
I mean, we don't even need to play Ram against.
I think you could try it on Root. You could definitely try it.
You could try it on Root, but Our answer to Sigma was playing dive.
Oh, okay.
We would play like
That's true, you guys.
break monkey dive, and then we've got Addy and Kev, the best divers in Europe, and then I would just play break and walk at the Sigma.
So, thought experiment. If I was to try and help SR Pig Check a little bit, and we played this on the end of Season 7 patch, or whatever patch had, like, I think end of Season 7 was when Twisted Minds won Reign, they could play a bunch of Sigma.
Yep.
And you get the Finnish Prince himself, the best Sigma player in all of EU, apparently, on Vistola. He gets to play Sigma while Sigma is still really good, or rather, while other characters not as good at countering the Sigma. What does the game look like then if you played the finals on the previous patch and Vistola gets to play Sigma?
We would just play Ryan. We would just play Ryan against it.
Yeah.
If Sig was meta, that's all we would have done, because I mean we've got Hattie, we've also got Backbone on our roster, and we could have pulled him in if we wanted to, and we could play Ryan Sim or Ryan May, and then we would have just looked just as good, because I think
they
the
would
Ryan
just
is a soft
transform
counter to
into
Sig.
the London Spitfire.
Yeah, we would just turn into upgraded London.
Look at us.
We've got the coach, we've got the 2 shot callers from London, we would just be an upgraded version.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Damn.
Sense. Yeah,
The Finns had no chance.
Yeah, well, like EU, like as you just look at the roster, like you really did pull together a lot of like the most storied players from European Overwatch League.
Yeah.
To one roster. Like it was always going to be hard. Like it's cool to be able to see like some of these contenders teams like compete, but at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, especially with like, would you guys agree with me that in terms of flexibility, like Overwatch League really like enhanced that for you guys? Like you guys feel like you had to play more comps and at least be a little bit more, I guess, diverse with what you had to do.
For sure, SR Peak Check couldn't play some of the comps that we were playing. Like they were stuck on double flex. They didn't like the Lucio comps as much. They didn't have a Lucio player on their roster. Even they were just forcing a flex support to play it. I mean, Vess is pretty flexible, but he's been around for ages. And their DPS, who are their DPS? Sauna was Al, so he could play a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But we can play just every comp, and
I mean,
for our team, it feels like we don't even need to VOD review stuff. We just, let's play dive here, and then everyone knows where to go, everyone knows the setup. We don't need to explain a thing, and we just start winning in scrims.
is this like a symptom? You're talking about, like, you know, they just can't play as many comps as you guys, and obviously you just fished up and got all the best EU AL talent, and I mean, there's the irony there is, or maybe the downside of that is, well, when you look across the EU roster, there's not a lot of AL talent available. I mean, is this just how EU Overwatch is? That once you got Kevin, the best Overwatch League talent, and there's just a lack of flexibility across the board for everyone else, then the region is kind of over. I mean, what's the state of EU Overwatch at the moment?
I think if there wasn't Saudi E-League running at the same time as the Flash Ops, there would have been way more competition. Because EMEA as a region at the moment is just like, it's 50%, if not more, just Saudi players. Because of the amount of money that they pumped in to the Saudi E-League that was not being given to EU contenders, like that region is just like, that part of EMEA is way stronger. And it wasn't involved in the Flash Ops tournament, it was just the rest of the European.
Well, where do the top 3 of E-Leagues place? I mean, where do GK and F16 and them sit if they played here? Because we know Twisted Minds would have probably made a final, but what about the other guys?
I think the top 2 would be us and Twisted, and then there would be like a slight tier break, and there would be the other teams. But GK looked really good, but they had like Landon and, was it?
Checkmate.
Yeah, Landon and Checkmate. So it's not really an EMEA team.
Yeah, they wouldn't be allowed to use those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, their roster would look very different. Actually, when I think about it. So would F16. They wouldn't have
F16
Merit
was
in
the same.
someone,
They
I
had
think.
Merit and someone who were like pulling the rest of the team behind them. But
Yeah.
but Twisted was the only team that is just like full EMEA talent, because their imports are Kellex and Hattie and that it? Slay.
I think that
But
was
Hardy would have to make a choice.
Slay
Wait a
doesn't
minute.
play.
Does Hardy play for you guys or them? If Twisted Minds play.
Well, I'd hope we could get him, because he wasn't playing for Twisted Minds. So, but I don't think they'd let us have him if he was going to beat them. So for
Like,
future
Twisted got that
tournaments,
much sway.
we have no idea. We have no idea if there was another tournament, like if there was another Flash Ops now and there was no Saudi League, we assume that we wouldn't get Hattie, and obviously he's a huge part of our team. He's a great shot caller. So what do we do?
I don't even know who the next available tank is.
It's
Honestly,
Vest,
I mean,
it's
I look at the rest
Vestola.
of the rosters. It's like
We'd have to just steal him. We'd have to steal someone else.
The classic of like our player left. Let's just take the second best team's player and just recruit him. The Kevster effect again. Hey, we have Kevster.
It would just be the Kevster effect. If you're a best dollar, how do you say no to that?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly right.
Yeah, everyone will just leapfrog. It'll be like that, the hermit crab thing. They all show up to swap shells, and everyone just moves up one shell.
Yeah.
So, but I hope EU gets a bit of reinvigoration.
Same.
I think that's like one of the biggest things that needs to happen for next year is that EU needs like more attention and more support so that players can come back in.
Well,
and
Saudi E-League has done its part. You know, there's a large amount of Saudi players coming into the player base who look really solid.
I mean,
they look
rest
really
of EU
good.
though.
Yeah, the rest
Everyone
of EU
else
needs some help though.
That's what I'm saying. Like everyone else is like, come on, we got to step this up.
Yeah.
Because we used to have way more EU talent. So like I said, like it's cool that you guys won, but it's also kind of sad that like you guys have all the AL talent, and then I look at the other rosters and I'm like, oh, there's no more. There's basically almost no more AL talent. I mean, Peps actually had like 3 XL players, but they didn't end up placing super well. They got knocked out really quickly. It looks like. So
I mean,
that's a little unfortunate.
We fucked up the bracket by being an 8th seed, so that meant that they got put in an awkward place, and then they have to play like 2 of the best teams back to back, which sucks for them.
All right. Well, now we get towards Custa's favorite part of the show. We get to go back towards the NA versus EU discussion. So let's assume we even out the ping. I don't know how we even out the ping.
Gauntlet style.
We do an Atlantic showdown situation. I don't care if it's online or LAN or whatever.
In Hawaii. I've heard it's great there.
Yeah, it's meet in Hawaii, fellas.
I'm down.
And we'll put the discs together, and it's current patch and same starting rosters. No excuses. Everyone's playing. You all have your coaches if you have them. Do you guys have a coach, Hawk? I can't remember. Oh, that's right. You guys have okay, cool. So how does it go down? How does Timeless versus XO go down?
Go first.
I think we're gonna win. Like, I think we're probably better than Queen Mirror, and then we can also play Ram too. So like, I don't. Yeah, like we never lost to Queen Mirror in scrims, and we didn't even play it that much. So I think we'd win in this patch, but I'm not gonna say we're gonna lose, but but yeah, I don't know. I just think we're better at the Queen comp.
I think with a week of scrims of us playing Ram, we'd beat you in Ram comp. And
no holidays
I think you guys. I think America looks you guys look so bad at the macro. I'm not gonna lie. Both you guys in the finals. That was I know you said it was sloppy, but that was some horrific macro from both teams. Just like running it down, not caring about mailts, just like never thinking about loose conditions and stuff like that. It was. I think the London style coaching would have dominated in that meta, or like would dominate in that meta, and we would have won with it. I think even without a week of scrims on Ram, I think we'd make it work.
All right, so let's make it less just about you two as well. Do you like? So let's go the final 8 teams of both regions. Like overall, who do you think is a better region? Like over the 8 teams, instead of just talking top heavy, right? Because
now you're just being mean, Scott. You're setting this one up to be mean now. I know where this is gonna go.
Well, it's like, because like obviously like there's a lot of great talent in a lot of things. Like how would do against?
I was gonna say I think NA would struggle with because you guys just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, is that the Hog team?
Yeah, no, it's not a Hog team. They have a May 1 trick and a Junk 1 trick. And everyone else is flexible.
Yeah.
Is it Necros a Genji 1 trick?
No, but he doesn't play.
He didn't play.
They just play. They play May Junk everywhere, and then the other 3 guys are super flexible, and they would just play like weird shit constantly. Like there was a Moira getting a 4K in the in the 4th place match or something, because like Hot Babe 35 is just running around the lobby flanking on Moira.
I don't doubt it. That's probably good.
Like, it
was good. It looked good, and I think that was the second most team we were worried about running into. We were worried about SR Peak Check and then because you don't know, like you show up to an match and they're just gonna do some dumb shit, and Kaya's gonna run around and just kill 5 across the map. And if you've not seen that stuff before, then it's so scary. And none of us had played against it. All these other teams that have been in Europe for a while have actually played Oye in every tournament, so they've got answers to these team comps. And we had like no clue what we were meant to play against it.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the team without a Lucio player playing Rush or
Yeah.
just the other teams in general. But I guess like you and like the flanking Mora, like honestly, would be the two scariest teams.
Unironically, us and Oya would be the scariest people for NA to play against.
I believe it. I believe it. Well, like, okay, so Astro, you guys said like Europe. I feel like Europe's always been the kings of Rush. Like, do you think NA would have an edge if we were going more towards like a Sigma Mirror or like something like that, something that plays a little bit different?
I don't know. We'd have to like reform the rosters, but
yeah, I think no. I think that Exblivion could beat us with Backbone and Ame.
Yeah,
that's No,
like, that's why I'm saying like we could beat you at the Ram comp. I think
like Backbone and Ame, he's just not. He's just going to gap anyone on that hero pretty much. So.
Yeah, and then we'd have Kev on Soj as well, which is good.
Yeah. But still could go both ways. Like I don't think he played much of the mirror.
It would be like
I don't think he played much of the mirror. Like a lot of random shit happens in that comp. Like just the Sojourn going through windows. Like
yeah.
You know,
I mean, we watched your streams of the matches from like both POVs. We see like a lot of the thinking, but we think a lot of it's wrong. We did scrim Primus Tornado and play some of the mirror very briefly because we tried playing the Junker Queen comp against it, and that didn't go so well.
It's very hard. You have to play.
It's really hard to play.
Perfectly. It's like trying to play Doom. Like you have to play even more perfect.
Yeah,
no,
especially like the Moira. We struggled with the Moira May Reaper variant where they just run at you. And you have to like have every Suzu. Yeah, you don't get an axe swing. We would get axe swings because we were timing like Suzu's to mirror them with our axe swings, and we could pray that Hattie stays alive. And it was just like, if he swings 3 or more people with his axe, we'll win. But if he doesn't, then he just instantly dies and we lose.
And it's actually working. Yeah. Blocking or wraithing it, because it's not going to kill him if you don't get that.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like that. But I think the Ram stuff, I'd be way more confident against NA on the Ram comp.
Okay.
So, real quick. So, FunnyAstro, you guys are saying you guys will play the Ram because that's what you guys will favor and you're confident in the mirror. So, Hawk, how do you respond? What are you going to play in response to that? Do you try and mirror the Ram and, I don't know, maybe lose the Backbone May? Are you going to try and force a Junker Queen? Like, what's the appropriate solution?
I mean, it's not like insta lose, but like, it's gonna be a dogfight series because like, it's very hard to. It's going to go like multiple like maps. Like it's not going to be a 3-0 on either side because that's just how the comp is. Like it's very hard to just completely dominate a team in this meta when there's heroes like Ram there's like almost unkillable. There's like 10-second windows, and then you have like Sojourns actually just like having 1v1s at times, just one-shotting players across the map. So just a lot of it comes down to like just random picks in the neutral and then ults. So it would just be a dogfight. Like I'm not gonna say
I agree it would be a dogfight.
I'm not gonna say I would lose. Like I just think it would be a dogfight.
How about we raise the stakes here a little bit, fellas, and add another dog into the race?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same.
Now it's gonna be a 3-way dogfight. I don't know if you guys watched a little bit of Korea. Let's throw a hamster into the mix now. So we're gonna make this a 3-region big ass showdown now. It's gonna be Timeless, EXO, and Hamster all in. And we'll play current patch. Maybe that's a little unfair to the Koreans because like we don't know what they look like in the current patch. So they played the previous patch. They basically just played Sigma, and I think Fearless did play some Winston. They played some Dive Monkey maps.
Queen Mirror as well.
And they did play Queen as well. They had Max versus Hanbin, a lot of Queen mirrors. So they did play a lot of Queen. And it will be Hanbin Queen coming in.
Not gonna lie, I didn't watch Korea.
Hamster in the mix.
I did watch it. I mean, Queen. I don't think they would be able to play Queen. Just how like on this patch how Ram is, and there are counters to it. But because people are playing Ram here, people are literally playing Ram in this match, and Ram is not even buffed yet.
Yeah,
triple buffed. But I'm not gonna act like either of our teams could beat this team easily at all, or if it's even possible. Like,
it would be so hard to beat this team.
Didn't you? Hang on. You said you thought the Koreans weren't very good at Rush. FunnyAstro. What?
Yeah, but Look at this roster.
He meant as like I think he meant as a region. Like,
as a region.
These players are actually good at it.
Look at this roster, man.
Hamster, no coach. They're going to be playing.
They don't need a fucking coach. I'm not scared of the coach on the roster.
I've heard every single player I've ever worked with call their coaches frauds. Like,
yeah,
I
thought you liked Christopher. What's going on? Are we clowning on Chris now? I thought
no. I'm like shitting on the Korean coaches. They don't need a coach. This roster would just like.
So what I'm saying is you got the Christopher advantage. They don't have a coach. Maybe they don't need one, but you got the Christopher advantage. You have the shot callers from London, etc. for the brawl. Let's assume we're playing some Ram mirror. You think generally the Korean teams are not particularly good at brawl, but the Hamster squad is maybe still too good, or what are you thinking here?
I think we're not even going to get close to them in the dive. They're not going to get close to them in the dive. I need the dive maps. I mean,
we could take some maps.
You might be able to cheese some maps playing some more comps, going like blow for blow 9999. But like,
we could bring out the Rhine.
I just think that their two DPS players are just like so far ahead of everyone else. On dive that like it's just gonna be very, very difficult.
My favorite thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you go.
Sorry.
I realized that. No, I was just gonna say my favorite thing is FunnyAstro. Every problem that they've ever had in Europe, they're just like, we'll just pull out Reinhardt. We'll just play Reinhardt and it'll be fine. And they'll just have to work it out. Yeah.
The Esports team tried playing Ryan. They kept like
which team?
The Mayhem team with Pelly and Vigi.
Yeah.
They tried just counterpicking the entire time like Mayhem did, but did not work out well at all.
Korean Rhines. They don't have the London core. The London core is different.
I guess, but
Hamster also played a ton of Lucio Mora. The classic Geo Fielder combo, the Lucio Mora. They just shoved that one in. So okay, so you think even on we know they're better at the dive, so we're not going to compare dive, but you think even on the brawl matchup, you guys will give it. You think they'll be ahead?
I think
in the Ram.
I think it would be close, but I'd have to give them a slight edge.
Soccer is really damn good at May. Like, I don't know if you've watched him, like, just aim around the map on May. Like,
he's crazy.
He's very, very good at May.
You have backbone.
Yeah, I think we've got the only May that can stand up to Stalker. And then who's their Sojourn player? Who's on that roster?
Proper.
Yeah. Okay. Sick.
Good luck.
So we've got
hey, bro, you got Kevster.
We've got the classic. We've got the Proper versus Kevster.
Proper is significantly better at Sojourn than Kevster.
Tank matchup.
Harbin versus Hardy on the tank.
It's Ramatra though. It is Ramatra.
Yeah, on a Ram, I think Hambin is gonna be different. Hardy doesn't play a lot of Ram, if any. He's he's good at the macro, but I don't think it's anywhere near his best hero.
It's very hard. I mean, it's a very there isn't as big of a difference between a good queen and a bad an Hami queen than Ramatra and another Ramatra. Like it's much closer. Because I don't know, Ramatra's not as high skill ceiling as Queen or like Sig or I don't know, another hero.
I mean, I think our backline's good, but I mean, it's
Chio
just
Fielder
Chio Fielder. They're literally just the best in the world.
You versus Chio and Sky versus Fielder. How do you?
I think I might take Fielder on that one. No, hate the Sky, but Fielder's the best in the world. If I was picking a main support, I'd also pick Chio. You know?
Where's the self-confidence?
I've got confidence, but I'm not delusional.
Smart.
You take Chio Fielder any day there. So we can match them on DPS. On Ram, I think Hambin probably has a slight edge, and then their backline is just better. So even in Ram comps, we could make some strategy to give us a better macro, and maybe we could win with that.
Then Proper will just get a random kill.
Yeah, then Proper will just kill 5, and then Fielder and Cheer will have 0 deaths in the lobby, and it's like, well, we're back here again.
But then Chris gives you a really good speech at halftime, and invigorates the boys and picks a good map for you. And
then Proper keeps killing us.
Like not care about
6 feet, man. What are you meant to do at this point? I think we could take maps definitely in the Ram mirror. Like we could have better macro. I believe in the European macro to be better than Korean at Rush, but like the skill diff is.
I'm gonna be honest. The Lucio's in EU and KR, you guys do not respect these Sojourners at all. Like these
What do you mean?
No.
Your NA losers are getting picked. 50%
You are too.
of
Everyone,
fights.
people in your region are too.
Did you watch the match?
Yes, it's just people peeking like rails. Like I'm not gonna like sit here and say like we have the best Sojourners in the world, but like I swear to God, like you proper lip merit. These guys will literally not even off angle. They will literally just pick you before you going on an off angle or they go on off angle. Like just like lack of respect. Like it'll be like a big wake up call. I feel like for a lot of
to be
these.
fair, I didn't have to play against any of the best Sojourns because the second best we played against was Sauna.
Sauna?
Yeah.
Right.
And he's not like one of the crazy Sojourn players, you know? He's not one of those guys that just
I'm dead.
hits every headshot.
Yeah,
he's not a proper.
Yeah. Well, okay, so obviously we talked about Hamster, like, and you know, we just want to keep the regional discussion going on. How far down do you think the Korean rosters can go before like all of a sudden like you guys think you have an edge? Because like O2 High School and Isohan were also like incredibly stacked as well, right? Like O2 High School has like the new generation of kids coming through, like the Pros, Prophets, Hesangs, Vipers, Max Junbin, Bliss Babel, and then Isohan obviously has a great roster with like someone in Merit and that whole core. Like, do you guys think you could take those guys down in these kind of metas, or like do you think a lot of these Korean regions are still pretty far ahead? I'm more talking just you guys as well, like the top end of NA and EMEA.
In these metas,
Yeah,
definitely.
We could take other teams than Hamster.
Interesting.
It still be dog. Like it's just a dogfight meta. Like, you're just gonna be going blow for blow up against almost every team.
Yeah, Hamster's just a different roster. Like that.
Do you think that team wins out?
Was it out? They would
this
just
team
win
wins
out.
out probably, right? Yeah.
What was their final score against O2 again? I think it was actually kind of close.
O2 got a map.
We just scroll down.
4-1. Yeah,
4-1.
But Isohan took 2 maps. Isohan got it close. Off O2. Sorry, I'm misreading. I'm misreading.
Okay, that was no. I watched that series. Now that was the biggest troll of my life on Rialto. I thought I saw where like 2 people crossed the bridge and they did it, and then Max ran across the bridge and killed their backline. No, that was just the biggest choke I've ever seen.
Yeah, these teams.
Now finally,
go on.
It's not complete. It's not complete without adding the final region, and this one's a little bit more difficult to talk about because, well, China doesn't exist anymore. But they had their own tournament. It wasn't flash ups. They weren't allowed to have flash ups. It was China and Australia that were not allowed to have flash ups, and Cuffle was very sad because he wanted to play. Anyway, obviously Hangzhou Spark, Team China just won that one. I'm trying to remember what they played. I think I can grab a couple of POVs for Solomon to look at. Yeah, Shy put up.
Yeah, bro. If China has to play Rush, they're like I think they're the 4th region. They're like
I don't think they can play
Doom
either.
so
Doom is
bad
very
at Rush.
hard. Doom is very hard right now. I don't think you can play Doom reliably into Queen or.
I mean, we thought the
Ram.
same against the SIG comps, but they came 3rd in World Cup, so.
Yeah.
What was their comp? What did they actually play in Aurora? I'm trying to remember. They played a Korean team in the final.
Wait, what tournament was this?
This is Aurora Cup. It looks like they just played Dive again. If I remember correctly, it looks like they just played Dive again.
They can't play the game without playing Dive.
What
their
patch.
GPS players
can't
is
remember
better
what
than
patch
everyone
they're on.
else.
Yeah.
So like.
Wait, they actually signed up for this Aurora tournament with the World Cup roster.
They dropped
I
the
forget
map.
One last ride.
One last ride, fellas. You know what I'm saying? I think Gushui did play a little bit of Ram, so it wasn't like
Everyone plays Ram.
God, what patch is this? I need to see Gushui's HP bar to find out, because if he's got the armor, then I know what patch it is. But yeah, it's too hard. I didn't watch the series. This was like a very difficult series to get a hold of to actually watch. So anyway,
I didn't
be
even know
interesting
that
to see what
was
they do. Yeah, well, everyone gets their own little tournament. And what are your thoughts actually, Hawk, on Twisted Minds? I don't know if you watch E-League. If you think Twisted Minds got slotted into NA, how'd they do?
I didn't watch it, but they probably did pretty well.
It's just Saudi World Cup team, but improved.
Yeah, they probably did pretty well. It's Ramatra, so as a Ramatra Sojamir, so like once again, go either way.
It's a problem,
But yeah, they probably did pretty well. I think they're a pretty good team.
Wait, is this the finals of Oh,
yeah, this is the finals, but it's just Shy's POV. Oh, actually no. Well, you guys got someone else
This
here.
is
What's
Lee.
this?
So they're playing dive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're
I see.
playing dive.
I mean,
That's
okay,
the
so-
rushiest patch you've
But
ever
it's
seen.
Nepal. But it's Nepal.
It doesn't matter.
Can
It
we
doesn't matter
fast
what
forward
map
to
they're
Ram?
No, if you walk, if like hamsters or any team walked out of Queen right here, like it wouldn't be close on the new patch. Like,
Yeah,
you cannot play Doom.
You can't play dive. Like it doesn't work.
Fast forward a little bit. So go to the next round. I'm pretty sure Gooseray goes Ram. Pretty sure he goes Ram.
People played Ram in this.
When he
match.
goes Ram,
They're
Okay.
a monkey.
Okay.
Dude, they're on the
This is-
goop.
one more round. Just one more round. Push it a little bit further. Go a little bit further, VOD. I'm pretty sure.
Oi!
There
Well,
it
you
is.
ha-
Nepal
so what-
village.
Yeah, it's Nepal village, bro. You have
So what?
to.
This is season 8, right? Because Gooshray's got the armor. Wait, no, he's a nemesis right now. Let's.
Does he have armor?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
this is
he's got the
season 8.
armor.
Yeah, he's got armor. So this is season 8. Okay,
So they're playing on the
playing same
rushiest patch of all time, and they're playing dive. 2/3 of the maps. Fucking love China.
Old habits die hard.
Oh god. You know what? Hamster would 100% mirror them in that dive again.
Oh yeah, they would go
Yeah,
down
it's
that.
They
so
would.
dumb.
Out of
They would.
respect.
So dumb.
Out of respect, they'll do it again. Out of respect, just cause you know why not?
That's just an ego duel at that point.
Yeah.
I respect it. They took it the ego duel in World Cup as well, right?
Yeah. And then
But
lost. That was
World
that
Cup,
6 series.
the World Cup Korean roster wasn't as good as Hamster.
Oh yeah, no.
Like
no,
the
no.
Hamster roster is just a straight improvement on it.
Oh, that's the proper effect. This is what happens when Proper's out of jail and, you know, his 12-year-old boosting can't hold him back anymore.
Yeah, we've all been there.
I don't know when he boosted. Anyway. Well, I guess you can't make the Korean roster either, then FunnyAstro, you've outed yourself now. We have enough time to still talk a little bit about the current meta and where Season 8 is. Before we get into any Mauga discussion, let's just talk about where the meta is. So, obviously, you guys already alluded to the fact that Queen got buffed a lot. You guys have both played Queen on this patch. Ram obviously got buffed a lot. It seems like Ram was probably the biggest winner on this patch. This is we're just talking about the Flash Ops meta for now, excluding Mauga. Ram, kind of the biggest winner for competition with a little bit of Queen in there. That's generally where we're at. I mean, was it just as easy as, oh, Ram and Queen got buffs and that's what we're going to play, or what?
Yeah, they're kind of like, when you see that kind of buff to Ram, you're less like, okay, he was ready to be playing the patch before the end of it. Like, looks, I mean, you could kind of tell from the patch notes like what they're going for at this point. Like they always just overbuff something. Especially Sigma nerf. The Sigma nerf was actually kind of big. 7 seconds to like 9.3 seconds now to get a full barrier or some shit. Or maybe it's not that severe. But no, it's not that severe. I thought it was 75 health per second. But yeah, it's a noticeable nerf on Sigma, like your uptime. And Ram just like, I don't know, like,
Yeah, I don't get why they buffed Ram.
you can misuse your cooldowns now and just sit in like staff form and you'll be like fine because like just the armor is just so powerful. And the armor, you get more armor when you transform as well now. So like it's even harder to kill him in his nemesis form. So I think the only thing he needed was like the void accelerator buffs. I don't think he needed any
if they
more
literally
armor.
just changed the left click, he still would have been meta, but he would have been less oppressive.
Yeah.
At the
More
moment,
killable.
yeah, he's just like, he's unkillable. Our whole strat when we played Queen was stay as far away from the Ram as possible and try and kill everyone else before the Ram kills you. Like
It
that
kind of
was-
messes the Ryan matchup too. Like Ryan wasn't that bad to Ram, but now like
counters Ryan
it
pretty
kind of
hard.
is. Yeah, now like it was like winnable on Ryan, but I don't think it is anymore. Like
Even Bastion can't kill Ram. Like nothing can kill this hero. It's unreal.
I think they only buffed him because Mauga farmed him so hard in their playtests. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh,
Like-
that makes sense. You think he was just so his win rate was like so low and quick
Like,
play that they're like,
I mean,
we
you
gotta
can crit. I
boost
mean,
it?
Mauga shits on him right now. Like if you start blocking, like you're getting crit through block. You can't do anything. Like it's like playing Ram versus Bastion right now.
Right.
I mean, it's more doable with the armor, but like
Did-
before it wasn't.
Bastion didn't get nerfed though, so Bastion falling out of meta is interesting as well because he had a solid run in this meta all through World Cup and the recent tournaments on Season 7. So I guess no Sigma means no Bastion. Is that kind of how that works?
But did he not get nerfed a little
He
bit
got
last
nerfed.
season? He got nerfed a
He
little
He
bit
got
last
I'm
enough.
season.
looking
His
through the
shift
notes now.
cooldowns longer.
He might have been the
or
patch
something.
before.
It might have been the patch before, but
November patches?
it might have not been in the World Cup or something, and then there were 2 patches before Flash Ops.
Yeah, Bastion is just one of those heroes.
It got a nerf at some point to the shift cooldown.
And is spread by
I see it. It was 2 patches ago.
And then
2 patches ago.
He's still not bad, but like he's just not as good.
He doesn't have the same
right?
uptime. Yeah. Like after his shift, people just kite his shift, or Ram just blocks it.
His nade is still very good. Like
yeah, the nade is still broken, but
I mean, is this? I look at it as a pretty small buff to Junk Queen. What is it again? 8% spread reduction. Is that really enough to push her in the meta?
No,
it's pretty big.
But they've progressively buffed her like recently. They buffed her knife damage like a couple patches ago.
Yeah.
She's been kind of good, like sneaker good for a while. She's been played like the end of OWL like regular season a decent amount. Like, she's not bad. Like, yeah, I don't know. She's just really good.
I'll tell you what, I think a lot of people were concerned about Dive coming in massively because Doom got a really impressive buff.
That's a nerf. I don't really. Like, that is still a massive.
Really?
It's a nerf.
Health,
no, it's a massive nerf.
Okay.
It's a massive
the ultimate cost increase 16% is crazy.
16 is actually
That is
pretty large.
such a
Okay,
big
what about
amount.
Tracer? What about Tracer?
Okay, I'm just gonna explain it. Like, it is like 20 seconds that you cannot take a risky play, and then even when you do, like, you're playing against an Ana Brig, and you're not gonna kill them with your Doom ult, like, unless you get every cooldown out, which a good Ana Brig will not let you do that. Or you're playing against BAP, Lucio, and even then, you're not getting a good Doom ult. Like, Doom ult just still sucks.
And you don't want to stay in the air for that long. Like, if you're in the air for 5 seconds because you want to heal up, like, the enemy team has got all their cooldowns back, and your team has had no tank for those 5 seconds.
You're 4v5.
Yeah. Like, it encourages you to not play the game. Like, just sit in your ult and wait.
I think it's good for lower ranked players, but bad for higher ranked players. Because like I think Doomfist was getting his ult like stupidly fast. Like good Doomfist, like were just getting it very quick.
But that was the point of the hero. Is you can just stay in. You can just always stay in. You can just.
It's a riskier like glass cannon like Winston. Like you have to hit your shots. You don't have a bubble. Your ult isn't as good, but you have more ults to like take more risks, and they kind of just took that away.
And then finally, Tracer damage. I mean, I thought that surely would have pushed Dive forward, but
we did try
like maybe...
a lot of Tracer because we have Kev, and we really tried to make it work, but it's just there's nothing that you can play with Tracer that makes the comp good.
No synergy.
Like we played Queen comp with Tracer, and that was probably the most success we had.
Yeah,
I think
Sombra's kind of like you can't really.
Sombra's just shit. Sombra's useless.
I mean,
Winston gets bullied by all of these comps. Winston can only really play against the Sigma comp, and then Doom just isn't that good. Like the Ram is just so oppressive, and then BAP is still good as well.
BAP is forever good, yeah. Like
he just does too much.
Yeah, I feel like they keep nerfing like the wrong thing. Like the ammo change was like. It doesn't matter that much, right? Like
I think it was when they like
12 bursts instead of 15. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh no! Like what?
I still have 3 health bars. I can still set up a window for my soldier to one-shot somebody across the map.
It was when they made the direct healing buff, when you can like direct people to heal them, and it does more healing. And his healing output is just it's absurd. If you hit the directs.
And it's
you can't miss them on Ram.
Crazy, yeah.
You can't miss them. Like. Is there a Ram right in front of you that you can right click on and do like 90 healing per shot because of the buff on the previous patch? Yeah, I mean, you're just unkillable. I think the hero needs a lot of nerfs.
But like, if back got nerfed, wouldn't Moira just take the place right now? Like, do you think Moira has this? Like, I guess this is a bigger issue of like, do you think there's just too much healing in the game? But
or
like,
Kiri,
yeah, like I think
Kiri's really good at too.
Yeah, I think Kiri's really good as well. Like, I think you can cover it with all 3 of those heroes. So it's like, I think they either need to go with the idea that they need to nerf the overall healing from some of these like support heroes, or they need to find a way to make it so the tanks aren't unkillable in their
They just need to nerf the AoE aspect of the heals. Like, Kiri buffing her Suzu to do double healing.
Well, I have no idea where that came from. Yeah, that was
that's
literally out of nowhere for no reason, and they just double the healing. Like the invulnerability duration
doesn't change anything.
It doesn't change anything. It's just double healing, and you can just spam right click heals like Kiri's not great, but it's still a good pick. And then I mean everything else AoE heals are just too strong at the moment.
So much like lock on healing too. Like there's just so much lock on guaranteed healing in the game. Like Kiriko's just lock on healing, Brig Pack, lock on healing, can't block it with Matrix, can't shield it off. Inspire, Bap Shift. There's just a lot of like guaranteed healing in this game.
I think supports need nerfs.
Yeah, I think we are getting to the point where I think like it potentially would be beneficial for the game if they went like everything is nerfed by like 25% and like see how the game. Well, okay, let's calm the fuck down over there, okay, European Lucio. Because Lucio can do a shit ton of healing while also providing speed boost if you're playing as a group, but like obviously not.
Yeah, I just think he's super enabled by these AoE healers. Like Lucio is just only in the meta when Rush is meta because speed and beat are OP.
Yeah. But what is my purpose? Like speed everyone else around? Like
yeah, like he's not been touched for ages, and Brig was better before that because Brig was better in his place in the dive mirrors.
Yeah.
We talk about the fact that it seems like some weird targeting of nerfs and buffs here on the patch notes, and we kind of alluded to the fact that maybe it actually has to do with one big elephant in the room, and that's Mauga, because the fact that, you know, I think it actually makes a lot of sense. Ram getting this big buff, it probably is due to the fact that he just loses to Mauga and currently still does lose to Mauga. If Mauga wasn't in, we'd have a huge problem with Ram right now. I think Ram would just be, it currently is. I mean, we can see from Flash Ops running rampant on the patches on the meta. But Hawk, first of all, you had a tweet from a while ago talking about Mauga, and you were kind of praising the damage being buffed, I think, and that was like a good change. But now that he's in ranked and he's continually received more and more buffs, he's kind of just taking over the game.
This is like a theoretical like hero that doesn't exist. What I pretty much feel like you don't poke mid range anymore, like at all. Like it's fun to use it like quick play, but you'll like get this feeling if you're not shooting at the other tank on this hero permanently that you were instantly losing the fight. There was a couple scrims before they like banned Mauga from flash ops because I thought that was usually the point of flash ops to showcase this new hero. They banned Mauga, so we did play a couple scrims of Mauga. It was absolutely miserable. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is like some of the worst Overwatch I've ever played.
Is it a mirror?
Yes, the Mauga mirror, where you're just shooting the other tank the entire time. You have a 40% AoE damage reduction for all your teammates. Like, I mean, I'm sure some people have played it in ranked at this point now. His damage get nerfed, but his survivability's up right now, and he's just unkillable. And it feels like you have to almost mirror him on the majority of the maps because like the 40% damage reduction to your team's like very, very hard to beat. His ult is damn good. Like you get someone locked in there. His ult is
so broken.
It's so obnoxious.
You can't play dive against Mauga.
It's so obnoxious.
It's just not possible. Every Mauga ult will win the fight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think he already needs like a hard rework. I'm gonna be honest. Like I think
we're 2 weeks in.
I don't know how you can make this hero like healthy at all in any world. Like
he just needs to turn his ult into like Mordekai's ult instead, you know? Like
he's such a cool character. He's such a cool character like that everyone like loves. But like I think his kit is like so like not good for the game. Yeah, like, yeah.
It is brain dead.
Do you think it's the AoE healing and like the AoE healing damage reduction thing? Do you think that is like the big culprit of like the issue of like everyone just rallies around him and he becomes unkillable with it? Because he just heals himself so much. Plus he can get pocketed.
Just
the fact that he needs it is like weird. Yeah, they made the same mistake. With Shout, but it feels like since Queen's hitbox is so small and like she could like move around the map, has other ways to lifesteal besides shooting her gun close range, at shooting at the tank. That she's just like a more healthy version of Mauga. Like. I don't know how you make this hero not a hero that has to shoot the tank the entire time if this is what his passive is going to be. This is like, I feel like if you have to have a hero that has like major damage reduction on his dash, major damage reduction for 5 seconds on, and then for a 10-second cooldown, like, you kind of like, I don't know, like he has no other way of doing damage besides his guns. So he has to be shooting his guns. Like there's like very, very low skill expression. Like if you go and play the game right now and you get into a Mauga mirror, like you're not going to be able to, you could hide the names on the best players in the world. You won't be able to tell. Like, I don't know. Like he needs to become like a poke tank, and like his guns need to overheat his guns need to overheat if you shoot them too long. Like it needs to be like some sort of like poke tank. This is miserable. Like,
correct me if I'm wrong. like ranked meta right now is literal Mauga mirrors the entire way.
What supports do people play with it? Is it just double play?
Any, like just keep him up.
Literally doesn't matter.
Just keep him up. Like Mora Brig, Mora Kiriko, Anna Brig, Anna Lucio, like anything. Just keep him up as long as possible. Like,
I think Kiriko's probably the best, right? Because you can Suzu off the tank, and then you can like the Fuda is just fucking never ending going. Like,
and then Anna, maybe you can try and kill the enemy Mauga with an anti. It's just gonna be Anna Curie or Life
Is there
Weaver.
any tank you can play into this? I don't think there is, right? There's no tank that can really play into this at all.
Queen's not awful, but like it's a coordinated play. I think it'd get massively dookied on.
Could you Doomfist and ignore him? Just like ignore him and try and
kill
the
rest
of the team?
I mean, if you're building your ult so slow, you get caged. Like you're probably instantly losing the fight if you get caged. I guess you can.
Sigma and just outpoke him.
So wait, what does the E do? Is it like damage reduction and lifesteal?
It's damage reduction.
It's just
lifesteal. It's like 70% lifesteal for him and his entire team.
Around
40% damage reduction for him and his entire team. Like it's just a stat. Like it's just a stat monster. Like I don't know.
Yeah, the E is just. It seems unreasonable. There's no way.
It's currently 70% lifesteal and 30% damage reduction.
And that's crazy. They just need to take away one of those things. They just need to take away like the lifesteal or the damage reduction. Because if you try and play dive against that, like if you try and play Doom and try and go over him and kill the rest of his team, and you're on a backline that has 30% damage reduction and 70% lifesteal, how do you ever kill the supports?
As a tank, how do you fight into that? Like, anytime you dive into that, he has guns. Like, he's just gonna be lifesteal. Like, look at this fight right here. They both pop it, and and he's just like his health isn't even going down. Like, he's just like permanently shooting, and so it's about like baiting the cooldown and then going with your own. But
literally running away.
Yeah. They need to give him a different E.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where you actually want to leave the fight as a tank, so the other guy can't lifesteal off of you. Like, you need to hide, make sure everyone else can kill the tank. Like, it's just like, it's just. This is like this is like the worst of the worst Overwatch we've had yet in Overwatch 2.
I think this is maybe the worst hero that's been released so far in Overwatch 2.
Out the ult.
And one of the worst heroes ever released.
There's a tree in the fucking cage, bro. What are you gonna do?
Lifeweaver might be the best hero if that is the only thing that counters Mauga ult.
This is the problem.
Tree.
Yeah, like this is the fundamental problem. Like you saw, like they end up in the cage, but there's like permanent healing. Neither one of them are able to do anything. No one can find any picks. The Maugas are just existing. But Mauga also doesn't really. Mauga can't really go past the other Mauga to do damage either. So it's like you just have to keep shooting each other. Like it's just in your best interest. So it's just like I don't know.
So this hero can't be balanced. I think I agree with Hawk. It's a fundamental design problem. You cannot balance this hero because he's feast or famine. Either he's going to be crazy overpowered like he is right now, or you change his numbers, you make him weak, and then he's just instantly out of meta. And the reason why is because when you make, and I'll say it as it is, you make brain-dead heroes like this with like zero skill expression, essentially, that's the only thing that can happen. Either they just get buffed to the point where you have to play it because it's so easy to get value and he just does such crazy damage and he never dies, or, you know, you reduce the numbers and he can't do any of that effectively. He's got nothing to bring to the table, no real utility. We're assuming that if you nerf his numbers, you're nerfing the E as well, which is, at the moment, as we discussed, pretty egregious. We're assuming that. So what does he bring to the table? You don't have utility, you don't have skill expression, you don't have a way to outplay, like, actually, compared to the other heroes in this game, other players. He just doesn't bring anything interesting to the table at all. I mean, I co-streamed KR Flash Ups recently, where I spent a decent amount of time just kind of complaining about how badly designed this hero is. Like, he's so boring. He's the most boring hero ever created.
I thought Ramatra was boring after a little bit, but this hero takes the cake. Like, for skill expression, like at the lowest.
Yeah, I'd agree. Ram's pretty boring. Like, but at least there are ways you can play him. Like, you can play to kill enemy backline and stuff. Like, you can hide and then punch backline and go for stuff like that instead of just shooting the enemy tank 24/7.
Yeah.
This is why skill expression needs to exist in the game, so that you can balance around skill expression, and you can do your, like, players can sort of make heroes work by being good at the game. That way, like, you know, these heroes aren't just raw stat sticks walking around with too many guns.
I also
literal tank bashing.
Hate how they're like, we can't nerf. Like, Hog is very good in ranked. We're like, oh, we can't nerf Hog because we think this battle pass hero has a good matchup versus Hog. Like what? Like, what are you saying? Like, That's like not a good like Hog still needs nerfs, and this hero is also like not fun to play into. Like, it's just like there's like encouraging like hard like rock paper scissors or like hard counters. It just look weird to me.
So I would. I mean, we can talk about how we would fix this hero, but again, I don't think nerfs will work. I don't think nerfs will make him healthy in the game, because I think he'll just be deleted in the meta at all. I agree. And so maybe for some people, like just sending him to the nether realm is fine. But if you actually want a hero that can like still function in the game, then I think I don't know why he's got. Okay, I do know why he's got too many guns, because they were so stun locked. They being the devs, they're stun locked by the Mauga law. He's like, well, he's the assault from the Talon. In PvE missions, he's got to have the 2 miniguns. But I'm like, that's just a mistake.
I think, like,
one of the guns can be a minigun, and the other one should be like a completely different gun that shoots differently and has a different mechanic altogether, so that you can have skill expression by balancing, playing around with 2 weapons, because that's kind of unique. We don't really have heroes that do that with 2 weapons equipped at the same time that play a little bit differently. And the E, I mean, that should just be something different entirely. I hate lifesteal as a mechanic first and foremost, but we can be a bit more creative with damage mitigation right now. We don't need more lifesteal. We don't need more shields. He could do something else. I don't know what it is yet.
I think make him into like kind of like a ram where like your tempo is when you're able to shoot both your guns. Like you can only do it for a certain amount of time. Like say you can only shoot your guns for like 5 seconds max, and that's the time where you can like really get in there. But I think he needs to turn to like almost like Ram, where like he could poke. He's able to poke safely and do decent amount of damage with his left click, and then he could ignite them with his right click. It's a fun mini game when you're actually able to do it. But it just encourages like shooting 350 bullets of just both 2 guns at the tank the entire time. So like he doesn't really have like there's no choice. Like there isn't really any choice right now.
He makes dive tanks unplayable, which I think is bad for the game as well. You can't have that kind of thing existing in the game.
How would you feel about like what his gun is like a resource meter on the ignite? On that kind of stuff. So then like you have to actually time when you want to ignite people and like do the mini, because right now, as you said, you're just shooting both guns all the time. And like
I don't even think he should crit. I don't think he should crit at all.
People brought up a good point of like it should probably be mini crits. Like mini crits is something that like is well popular in TF2 and stuff like that. Like it's an interesting idea of like he doesn't do full level of critical strike. I think Kiriko is the same way. Her headshots don't do full critical damage or something like that.
They do more.
Her headshots
do more. It was something like I remember something was different. But she fucks with everything, and it's kind of interesting because like I think they need to just like mess with that. I think calling for a rework at this point, like I think down the line that might end up being an issue, but like they're not going to do that. So I think realistically, I agree. The E is the fundamental issue. Like I think, especially because we're looking at this from a top end perspective, the reason he probably has 2 miniguns is because 2 miniguns go brewer and that's fun. And like, lower rank people's
because of the law.
And the law. Like, yeah, but like it's a cool character. And
it's a fun new mechanic, no other hero has that.
And he like, I think at the end of the day, like Mauga is a fun hero to play, and he kind of feels like the Moira of tanks in a way, where you kind of just exist and you just sort of shoot in people's general direction and you have fun. And I know that's terrible for us to hear because I agree, no skill expression in this area. No skill expression.
That's like the worst thing.
There's no skill expression here, but at the end of the day, like they need to add heroes like this, and they've said that. Like they've said, we need to add easier heroes so that people enjoy it. This hero definitely wasn't made with the competitive scene in mind, or like the top end by any means.
You can make accessible. We don't even have to use the word easy. We can make accessible heroes that still have skill expression, right? I just don't think you need a hero that is like ultra accessible with no skill expression. That's an issue. That's why I like you're saying the E is a problem. I actually think the E and the miniguns are a problem. I actually don't mind the ult. I think the ult's fine, but the 2 miniguns, that's just the most brain dead thing where you're just shooting these 2 guns almost infinitely. Sometimes you're doing this little fire mini game, which is the only interesting part of his kit, but it's not interesting enough to really carry, the skill expression of this hero. That's why I'm saying he needs 2 different guns that 2 different things, so that you can like balance and have to make a choice between how you actually play his weapons. And it's not just I hold down left click and right click at the same time and fall asleep. Yeah, that's just...
It's like 2 Moras like shooting each other with their the entire
literally,
time.
Like no one's gonna die. You're existing. You're out here. Like, and it will forever be that. I don't expect them to change. I think they're probably going to be some like minor nerfs to like some of his shit to like make him balanced. But I think they want Mauga to be meta in their own right anyway. So I don't think they're going to come through with a sledgehammer anytime soon. Maybe at the end of the season, but I think Mauga's probably going to be meta throughout the rest of it.
We play in the finals instead. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be playing the finals.
I'm having fun.
If they want to keep Mauga like this, they're advertising for the finals. Like I don't know. Like I'm not squaring up in a Mauga mirror for doing 20k damage per 10 and ranked all day. Like it's just not very interesting to me.
All right. Well, moving away from Mauga, moving away from the meta, I think we should finish on talking about sort of how we feel about post Overwatch League. We've taken a little bit of time away now. We've gone through, so Overwatch League has ended. We've gone through the World Cup. Astro, you played in the World Cup. Hawk, you did not play in the World Cup. I think you refrained and you didn't bother doing anything with the team. You saw how it all went down, and then you guys have played Flash Shops, and now we're two, and we had E-League as well. So we're 3 events post Overwatch League. How do we feel about the state of Pro Overwatch now, and what more do you want still for next year? It's probably quite an easy layup because I got quite a few things on my list of things that I still like to see. But how do you feel about Pro Overwatch right now post Al, and where do you want it to go?
I think World Cup was sick. Probably the best event. Like the amount of content from that, and it's like it encourages so many more viewers than just NA, because Overwatch League was so like, here's your NA teams, here's your APAC teams, and it fucked over Europe, which was my main like gripe with Overwatch League. And I think the regional tournaments help Europe a lot more. I also think Flash Ops was really good. I don't know about the Saudi leagues. I think they have too many restrictions on roster building rules, and the quality of their stream and like the competitive integrity isn't quite there yet on the same level as everything else. I think the only thing that I want to see is like orgs coming in and paying people. I would be happy if it was just like a monthly Flash Ops. The Saudi leagues run as well, but every region gets its own monthly Flash Ops. We have like an old Contenders Gauntlet style every 6 months, where like maybe there's a LAN between NA, EU, and Korea. I think I would be happy with just the Flash Ops and World Cup if Flash Ops run like that.
You expand on the roster buildings. Are you talking about region locking?
Yeah, there's region lock, so you have to have 3 Saudi players on your team, and it's just like the teams that get the best Saudi players win.
Are you anti or pro region locking? Or for rosters?
Either region lock it all the way, so like no imports allowed, or have it completely free. I don't like the soft locks where it's like you have to have a certain amount of players from one team, but it's not everyone.
I think it'll probably, I agree with you, because it'll probably run into the issue of like, especially if you have imports, like let's say Korean players were looking to play in like the EMEA tournament or something like that. They're just the best Korean players, because there's probably not going to be money to incentivize them to come. They're just going to join whichever team Kevster is on, for that example.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
The 3 best European players are going to get the 2 best imports, and therefore it's going to become even more top heavy. That's what kind of happens with
Saudi. It just makes it super top heavy, because the best EU players, like they got Hadi and Kellex and Slay, they will just join Twisted because Twisted has the best Saudi players, and it will just always be like that. You've got to have some like opportunity for people to move up and move into and shift rosters.
Yeah. What about you? What do you think of the formatting and all that kind of stuff?
I don't mind the Flash House format. I think like my dream format would be like there's still like teams that give some give salary. Like you can't just be like you have some guarantees for the top players, I think. But I think like 2 like regional lands a year, like there's just NA players, and then like have like an Atlantic showdown, have a Pacific showdown, like back in like 2019 centers, and like at the end of the year you have like a giant ass like Worlds or the Gauntlet, and then like I feel like that's a pretty good format to like start growing the game back. Have it on Twitch, have some co-streaming, have people able to stream their POVs. Have some nice like crowdfunding skins. Like I feel like that's like the direction they have to go, and if they don't, like then like I don't know what the point is at this point.
Yeah, it seems like the only way out right now is to go to the regional style, and then Worlds once or twice a year, and then keep World Cup running. We just have to pray that orgs come in.
That's really the goal.
Yeah, because everyone is so poor right now. Like no one is getting paid.
And that's the thing, right? So even if there is region locking, I don't think teams can afford to get imports.
Yeah.
So I don't even think
teams can afford to buy a roster from a regular region, right?
Yeah.
Like
some teams,
I don't
teams
think
will pop up. I think.
yeah,
I mean,
some
orgs can pop in, and if they offered us like X Oblivion, if that was like the way things happened, and like C9 pops up and they're like, "Hey, we'll give you $200 a month," like if there's no other offer, like you just have to take it, don't you?
You're not taking $200 a month for.
But some teams would, right?
$2,000 a month, okay? Come on, set yourself higher. Come on.
I would definitely not take that, but some teams would. Like the fourth, fifth place in Europe, they would be taking that much money. I bet. Like, it's gonna be a lot less pay than it was in AL, like by a crazy amount.
I think whatever comes next. Realistically, I don't see a lot of esports orgs getting into Overwatch, obviously because of its history, but also like esports orgs are downsizing right now, like across the board. Like we're in a pretty esports winter. There's no money, so I doubt there's going to be a lot of money coming into Overwatch esports. So I think whatever happens next year is likely to be propped up by prize pool money. And that's really where most people are going to make their money. But even then, right, like it's not going to be enough. Players aren't going to be making the same living in tier 1 that they did last year. And like things are going to downsize. I think all we can really hope for is that whatever we get to compete in or, you know, whatever exists is cool. Like I think this Flash Ops was a good blueprint. And if they can even just like afford to do 1 or 2 lands a year, like I think that would get people excited. Plus you pair World Cup in there. That felt like World Cup was a success. You do lots of little things that... Maybe there's not this big overarching thing that, you know, we've had with Overwatch League in the past, but lots of little things that people can get excited about.
Mm-hmm.
I think
next year's just gone.
Also, people should stream their scrims. This has been propaganda we've been running in Europe.
Yeah.
Especially when orgs have dipped out and you're not getting paid anymore. Streaming is like, it's a large part of your income. So if teams get on board with everyone streaming scrims, it is so much better to watch than people just queuing ranked. Like if you watch the people who do stream scrims, like my viewership doubled instantly like the second you start doing that, because the public is just so much more interested in it. It's something that hasn't happened for like the last 7 years. It's just like a fresh type of content that people haven't seen before, and that can help on the money side, I think. But every team has to agree to do it, because we run into problems with teams not wanting us to stream their scrims and all sorts of problems there. But if there's no orgs, like your hands are tied. There's nothing else you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it needs to get normalized, because CDL does it, as I believe is like one of the only other esports that I think streams.
And Apex do it as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course, because they do their lobbies. Like I think it is like it should become a necessity, and it just needs to become normalized, right? Like of course, teams right now don't want to stream scrims because it's like there's a lot of pressure. There's all these other things. People start caring about the results, but like if you can get over that hurdle and people start caring less, like it is really the way people are going to make money, and also it creates so much community. I guess people get invested in teams more, and you can see the inner workings of team, and I think it'll just be better for the scene overall.
Plus, people's comps get leaked anyway. There's no point trying to hide them.
Literally, everyone knows what everyone's playing.
Your scrim code's already getting leaked. Your files are getting leaked. Like it's been a problem for like 5 years at this point.
There's no reason not to stream.
What do you think, Hawk? Would you want to stream scrims?
Yeah, I mean, I would, but just me personally, I just like enjoy competing, not having to stream. But like that's just me personally. Like I know a lot of people like streaming. I know a lot of people like streaming, queuing ranked, building a brand. But like I guess this is literally just me. This is literally just a personal problem, like, or a personal like opinion. Like I just would rather just like focus on scrimming almost privately, like on a salary, and just playing like just how Overwatch has been.
Yeah.
But I guess sometimes the times change.
It's most players.
I think
everyone would rather focus, but if you're not getting paid, and it's just like, if there's a price tag on it, like if someone paid you $50 to stream one block, would you do it?
No.
Really?
No, I don't think I would.
Not even 50 a block. I feel like that's pretty good. That's like $25 an hour.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, maybe like if it was guaranteed every single time.
Yeah,
like,
if that was every time you stream your scrims, you get $25 an hour.
Yeah, I would.
Like
I'm just lying.
take that.
I'm just
you know you'd take that.
Yeah, especially if you don't have to be the one screaming. It's not like you need everyone from the team screaming every time. As long as you just have like
and you don't need to interact with. It's the easiest streaming you'll ever do because you don't need to interact with chat. You don't even need to have chat open. Like you literally just push the button on OBS, then minimize it, and go back to screaming like nothing's changed.
Yeah. I think the big issue would run into is some people would get a lot, like some people wouldn't say what they would usually say if they know that the public's listening and stuff like that. Maybe there are some people
just
who
don't say it in the first place.
yeah, well that's it. Like, but some people are like that, right? And they want to say that. They want to be toxic in scrims. They want to throw in scrims. They want to do that kind of like that shit happens. Like on
you can't
teams.
have an Imperial Hall in Overwatch. The people get too. You know what I'm talking about?
Just fucking
you don't
do it. You're not who's gonna ban you? You're gonna get banned from the league. There's no league.
No, I just think people's like perception of like if you have like an Imperial Hall who I don't know if he's like the best like Apex player. Like you know like he's pretty blunt with his team. Like he's not like some PMA like teammate. Like he like pushes teammates to the max. And I don't know. I feel like every time that something like that happens in Overwatch, people like actually like take it personally, you know, like their teammates would, like their fans would, they like their perception of a player, even though they're just trying to win at the end of the day. Like, I don't know.
I feel like people would understand it though. Like fans would understand it if they were watching scrims. They've got to. If that was normalized and people talking to each other the way they do in VOD review was normalized, it wouldn't become a problem anymore. It's just because no one has streamed scrims for this many years that everyone is so soft.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks Overwatch players are super fucking nice. They're not. Like players in
scrims, people are screaming at each other, and that's and that's just part of it, you know. But like, I want to let the public in on that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like Imperial Hull, he's got a huge audience as well. So clearly it's not a problem in Apex, but I think maybe it's the Overwatch audience that's definitely not used to something like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's sick content. I think it's adds to the experience. And I think next year, having Twitch back with co-streams, I think one of the biggest things about World Cup for me that was really impressive was the level of viewership we were able to achieve across all the co-streams together. And you start to see the Overwatch category really get up. I mean, there were days where Overwatch was overtaking League of Legends and Valorant and all the top, like we were like the number 1, number 2, number 3 category, something like that, right? We were in the top 3 when World Cup was really banging, and everyone was co-streaming. You'd go in the Overwatch Twitch category, and front page Overwatch is like 90% co-streams, and then other people doing whatever, but like 90% co-streams, and it's like it dominated all viewership for Overwatch. And that is really good for the esport as well, because like beyond that, no one really cared about the esports. Like obviously you couldn't co-stream
it's
the Overwatch League outside of specific
like,
YouTube things.
Yeah.
But here it's like now you've got way more of a casual appeal to the esport because all the streamers are putting eyes on it.
Yeah.
But also if you were just a casual person interested in Overwatch, you open up Twitch that day, you're like, holy fuck, what is this thing that is dominating 90% of this category? And then you'll just get sucked into it. And then you'll get introduced to Overwatch esports. So I think that's pretty huge. And 2024 is going to be interesting, though. I think it'll be a transitionary period. I think actually 2025 is the year that I think is super important because 2024 you're gauging it out, you sort of figure it out, you're stabbing in the dark a little bit and seeing what's going to stick on and what people will pay attention to and what people like or don't like. And then maybe orgs will be waiting as well because they'll look at 2024 and be like, we'll wait this year and see how things go. We'll see what the numbers look like. We'll see what the interest is. And then decide to come in a little bit later on. We're also hoping that esports is recovering market-wise a little bit further down the line. If that happens at all, maybe not. As Custa said, orgs in general are kind of downsizing or pulling out or all sorts of stuff. And esports still seems to be in a really weird spot. Not just Overwatch, but all esports in terms of where the money is. But it's going to be an important turnaround period. And, I don't think we're starting all the way back from zero. I think we're starting from a pretty good place. But people just got to get used to it not being the Overwatch League, People got to get used to it not being 50k guaranteed salaries with all these benefits and whatever, and housing and all that. And we got to build this baby back up from
we're gonna not from
zero, but from some point.
Yeah, like before, like in 2018, everything just sort of came out and like started going at 130%, right? So it's like it is gonna feel like it's going back to the grassroots of 2016, 2017. But at the end of the day, we're still gonna be beholden to Blizzard, and until we know what their scheduling looks like, it's gonna be like up in the air because like it's easy to build things when we have a schedule of like what happens of like how people can co-stream, how people can do it. Are they going to be putting skins in? Are they going to be promoting and all that kind of stuff? Like that's really going to be the big indicator of how Overwatch esports is going to do. And obviously whatever happens at Activision Blizzard in general. As AVRL has on his background, when old mate's gone, maybe things start to look a little bit better for everybody involved.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
The devil on your shoulder, mate. But yeah, we'll see. I'm cautiously. The thing is, I'm optimistic that this is going to be probably a really good period of Overwatch esports in terms of competition and entertainment. I just think it's going to be probably the worst place we've been since like 2016 in terms of like people actually making a living. And I think you're going to see a mass exodus and retirements very similar to Crimzo of people who are like, it's not worth sticking around if I'm not going to be able to get paid.
I don't think that many people will leave.
You don't think?
I think people will.
I think people
If
will.
it goes
it
on
depends.
For, like, we're all kind of
NA
waiting for them. Yeah.
NA, it's easier to leave because there's collegiate and there's a path out. But for EU,
I guess EU's kind of used to it at this point, you know, like being like left in the
yeah,
dust.
we got nothing.
Yeah.
Like everyone's used to not getting paid. Half the teams, people already have jobs and they come back from work. Like, oh yeah, that roster, everyone comes home from their 9 to 5 and then they're just playing Junkrat May in your games. Like, EU is already ready to not get paid. So I don't think anyone like, and the players
they were born and molded and they not get paid.
Yeah, and it's just a different like because of the average wage in countries is very different across the world. You know, NA it's a lot higher. Like in the US, you guys need a lot more money to live off of, but the cost of living across Europe is just lower. So we don't need as much money to live on. And if all I've done for the last 6 or 7 years is play Overwatch, so I'm just gonna keep doing it as long as I can, you know?
Yeah.
As long as it pays me a decent amount of money.
There is a chance. I don't know how divorced the esports scene is going to be from Blizzard. I mean, it will really depend on how the direction takes. But there's a chance that, you know, the esports side, depending on who's running the tournaments, we can just start making our own rules. And what I mean by that is, for example, we can start putting in GA gentlemen's agreements type of stuff. We can start doing, if we want to experiment with picks and bans or protect ban system, whatever, I think we can totally do that now that we're not like super beholden to Blizzard. And let's say, for example, if there was another tournament that ran right now and Mauga is just a huge fucking problem, we can just play a GA tournament with no Mauga and Mauga not available. You know, just fuck it. Just this hero is going to ruin the meta. We're just going to decide as a tournament. We're just not going to have this in the meta at all. It's not going to be part of the pro meta.
Yeah.
And you know, we can just play the game. We can just fix the game ourselves in a way if the meta's bad or whatever. I think there's a huge capability for that. Again, it will depend on who's got the reins and how willing they are to play around with that. But I think if there's other third-party tournaments that are like less, you know, super involved, maybe from the Blizzard side, then there's room for experimentation. There's room to sort of just push the reset button and do some different things.
Yeah, I agree. I think GA is a very interesting thing that Overwatch definitely could fuck around with these days. Like, I think as long as teams are willing to, and I think it has to start from the top end, because what needs to happen is the top end players need to be like, hey, we think GAing is better. And then, you know, exactly how it works in COD. If you're not going to respect the GA and you're going to play it in tournaments, then you just get blacklisted from scrims and stuff like that, right? So it's like,
that's like saying like, oh guys, like we're GAing Brig in 2018. Like,
well, like would that
you
be a
pick
bad
it, you're
thing?
gonna win. It doesn't matter if you scrim or not. Just if you pick it, you win.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day, like I understand that like that might feel bad, but like it's something that does have to, like, people just have to follow through with. I don't think Overwatch is ever going to get that bad. Like, we like to think that Blizzard, like the developers of Overwatch don't care about it.
It's pretty bad
COD
right now.
don't give a fuck. They're like, oh, we don't give a fuck that this gun is just like a mega overpowered. People love playing with it. So it's like, I think Overwatch will never have that issue. They're gonna nerf Mauga. They are listening to like our feedback, as much as it doesn't feel like they always are. But like, it'll get changed, and I think I hope it doesn't come to that. I think it's interesting what you said, AVRL, about like the pick and ban system could absolutely open up people to run a tournament with a pick and ban system, like a more thorough one where you can get a lot of people in to play it.
I think pick and ban
Now's
when it
the
was
time
in
to
the
experiment.
game. When it was in the game, the ban system was good.
The hero
Or when it
pools?
was in OWL, the hero pools, yeah.
You liked hero pools?
You liked it?
I didn't mind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I think
this
it
is the first time I've
kept
heard
the game
this.
really fresh.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work, but
Yeah.
They were very frequent at first, but I think like the
Yeah, it
monthly
was
like hero
weekly,
bans are pretty cool.
yeah, monthly I think
it's
is a good
2021.
idea.
I don't really know what like hero bans or like picks and bans would do in this state of Overwatch anymore. Like, I don't really think they have a place. I feel like they had a place like for Brig or for like Sigma or Mora back in the day. Like, I don't really know what the purpose of them is in 2024 going onwards.
It just allows the community, allows the teams, players, the tournament organizers to do their own balancing of the game. If Blizzard are too slow to balance, then we could just sort of do the balance ourselves with either a GA system or a ban system.
I think the only
right?
hero
That's
that
kinda
was
what it
ever
is.
broken for too long was Brig.
Yeah.
Like everything else
Yeah.
has been fixed pretty quickly, no? Nothing has ever been super broken for more than a few months.
Maybe Orisa or Sig. Maybe one of those two.
Yeah, when they were like really good together. You talking like
Yeah.
Overwatch 1? Like,
Okay. I'm
yeah.
talking more like Overwatch 2, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
Brig should have been in Overwatch? I mean, I agree too. Yeah, she was very strong for like 6 months in Overwatch 2.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of like interesting things that can be done like with it. Like I like the idea of like hero bans because it keeps things fresh. Like this Flash Ops is a great example of like it'd be really interesting if they're like between maps you had the ability to ban like Ramatra or a Queen or something like that and see how that changes things and makes the game more dynamic. But that's like a huge debate that people have had in the past, right? And I think Hawk, you've been a part of them of like where it's just like it's people wanting to keep the game fresh and not see mirror matchups, but versus people who like the purity of being able to just play the best things at any time and become the best at it.
I like mirror matchups. That's just me personally. I like just winning the mirror. Like
Yeah,
Feels good to win a mirror.
Like just grinding it out. Like I don't feel like I'm getting counterpicked the entire game. I don't know. Like just fun to square up in the mirror. Two teams are very good at it.
yeah.
I think they're always the
Right.
most fun
Well-
things to play, but then the most boring things to watch.
I think that's where it comes from, like, is from like a viewership perspective at this point, right? Especially when you play like, you know, an Overwatch League where we had a whole stage of everyone playing the exact same thing. It's like, this is terrible. Especially because like I think when you're in a mirror matchup, which is why you guys probably like it, the better team usually wins, right? But that's not always fun to watch when it's like you're going into a match and you can pretty easily predict who's going to win the match before it's even begun.
Yeah, that's true.
You want a game where play styles can shine, and teams like the Hangzhou Spark can just sort of come in and play their style, and London can come and just play their style, and that's really interesting because teams then get to have identities and whatnot. I think we'll do a final wrap up here by just sort of having a quick thought on, because we haven't heard it from, we don't get to hear this kind of opinion from pros, at least not on this platform. Maybe you guys tweet this out sometimes, but we're now over a year deep in Overwatch 2. Walker, you've had a bit of a love-hate relationship. We've had some back and forth about 5.5.6.6, etc. But we're a year deep now into Overwatch 2. Compared to release, the game has changed a lot. We've had a lot more new content. I think outside of Mauga, which I think is like really bad, and I don't like that part of Overwatch 2. But aside from that, I think generally Overwatch 2's gone in a pretty decent direction. What do you guys think? The 1 year review.
I still think the game is getting worse and worse from what the beta was every single patch. That's just my opinion. I think ever since I think Junk Queen's a good hero, but I think ever since Junk Queen Shout was like that powerful first stage and Kiriko, like on actual launch, like the game has only gotten like more and more frustrating to play, at least as a tank. And I think I'm seeing like more and more like upcry or like outrage of like the tank experience, the Overwatch 2 experience as time is going on. I don't know Astro stands on this, he plays support, but I'm always gonna love 66 more than 5v5 as a tank player. I think the game at the top has like for tanks has like lowered the skill ceiling. I just don't like counterpicking as well. Like I think it's kind of like it's just not as fun.
I think tank definitely took a hit going into Overwatch 2. I think support got super broken and still is at the moment. DPS,
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Shut up, man.
DPS might be the only role that's in like a spot where I think it should be. Like it seems fairly balanced. All the heroes are playable depending on what the meta is. But like compared to Overwatch 1, supports are so broken. Especially flex support. I think like the Ilari, Ana, Kiri, Bap, all those are just like they do outrageous. Their numbers are just too high, and they need tuning down a little bit. But in general, Overwatch 2, I think there's been like a good amount of content. I think the battle passes, as much as everyone hates them, I think they're good for the game.
Yeah.
I mean, people shit on the monetization, but just don't buy the skins if you don't want to pay for them.
I don't buy any skins.
Yeah, I don't buy any skins.
We're like top 10 Steam sales and shit all the time.
Yeah.
If people want to buy the skins, then people can buy them. But like the battle pass is pretty decent value. Like it's nothing different to any other game. Overwatch itself is free to play. Like it's not in a bad state at all.
Do you still prefer the first game?
Hmm?
You prefer the first game, like gameplay wise? Not content wise, but just...
What content?
I think it's pretty close.
Pretty close.
A support, I like playing dive more in Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I can
But
see
then
that.
like
I think
the
rush
rush
mirrors
comps,
are way worse.
the rush
in
mirrors
Overwatch
are so
2.
much worse in Overwatch 2.
And they
'cause
keep
one less
popping up
tank.
because they only make these like rush tanks that just sit on the ground.
Yeah.
So like that's just like nothing will scratch the itch of like playing Diva or like Ryan in like a rush mirror.
Yeah.
in
The rush
Overwatch.
mirrors took a hit.
Yeah.
Like the tank pairings are just worse.
Yeah.
Like Overwatch 1 tank pairing, like rush mirror, the Orisa Sig combo, the Ryan Zarya, stuff like that was so much better. But dive in Overwatch 2 is so fun because you've just got like full mobility heroes. You don't have to think about like 2 tanks on your ass 24/7. Like you can play the game.
Did you want to drop anything, Custa? Since
no, they hit most of it. I genuinely believe Overwatch 2 is better for the game and the health overall. Like I agree. Like in like we all have that nostalgia of Overwatch 1. Like that's why we love playing competitive Overwatches for those games, like those Ryan's eyes, those moments. But I think it's easy to forget like sitting at Hanamura first choke and with double shield, looking at another double shield, and I feel like I think of those moments and I'm like, never mind. It's okay over here. And I've said this in previous episodes. I think Overwatch is in the healthiest place it's been since 2018. I think that we're getting content, we're getting stable, people are coming back, people are having fun with the game. Maybe competitively, not so much, but in overall, Overwatch 2 is in a pretty good spot right now.
and that's why I'm like so annoyed by stuff like Mauga just kind of ruining the game in terms of making it unfun to play, because you're in a state right now where we should be on upswing. We got more content than ever yet. If you actually compare the content releases, Overwatch 2 releases content at a far quicker cadence than Overwatch 1 ever did. We've just got another new game mode coming out next year. You know, we got more shit coming. So generally, things should be good. But when you have setbacks where like the game is just not fun because of certain metas or whatever, that's what's going to push people. Because I've seen this before. You know, I'm getting the flashbacks. I'm getting the NAM flashbacks right now. When I always consider Brig release back. Whatever that was, whatever year that was like the moment for me when things started to go downhill.
Yeah.
And every time I see a new hero, that I just get the NAM flashbacks and oh shit, this is release Brig again. This is gonna ruin the game. This is gonna push people away. So that's like my biggest fear, and that's the part that it gets me every single time. So I hate it when a new hero like this comes out and just like makes the game unfun. So aside from that though, the game's got a lot more W's than L's since release. So I'm generally pretty pleased with how things are going, and very pleased with how Flash Ops has gone as well. And I think that just about wraps it up, fellas. So congrats once again to you and your respective teams. So
you know me.
Thanks, Tate Pearson. Custer and I just watched on the sidelines. It's funny, like the people that were actually involved with Flash Ops, like Jaws casted Flash Ops, but he ain't here to talk about it. So
yeah.
That's what it is.
They're all bouncing out, because it's the holidays and shit like that. So I don't know, like I think they had a good time casting it and that kind of stuff. But just like us, any work is good work, just like the players, right? We're just looking for something to come around the corner so that we can keep doing what we love.
Exactly.
Well, next episode will be, I don't know, hopefully we'll come back next week. It'll be the post-Christmas episode, pre-New Year's, so it'll be the final episode of 2023.
Wait, are we putting up an episode there? Are you sure we're doing that?
Are we?
Bro,
I don't know.
Johnny
We're
is
all
out
making
here.
It's just going to be AVRL on his own.
Johnny's not here. We can do whatever we want. Johnny can't control the show. We can do whatever we want.
There's not going to be any
Force is
news
not here
probably.
now.
Like,
Yeah, what are we going to talk about? Let's do
Guys, let's talk about Mauga for another 2 hours. I think we can do it.
If we don't see you before next year, have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. We'll see you in 2024. If we do, then we'll see you on the 29th. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Otherwise, thank you for being on the show, guys. Congrats on your wins, and we'll see you all in 2024. Hopefully, we will all see each other there when whatever the new Overwatch Esports is.
Yeah.
Peace
Hopefully.
out, 206.
Thanks for having us.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers, guys.